This broadcast is brought to you by the following community supporters.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. CFC Farm and Home Center, supplying your lawn and garden, pet, and farm needs since 1932. Hometown pricing and outstanding service at CFC Farm and Home. Found in Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and over 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. Battlefield Automotive. Nominations are now being accepted for the local area sports Hall of Fame. Nominate anyone that you feel is deserving of historical local sports recognition at localsportshistory.com/HOF. K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies. Now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones. Our high-quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Visit uvahealth.com for more information.
All right, you're tuning in as Braden Capolini kicks off for Eastern View to start this one tonight at Brooke Point High School. We've got a touchback, and Brooke Point's offense will start from its own 20-yard line. Welcome to the broadcast. Visiting Cyclones at 2-0. They had a bye week last week. Taking on the Brooke Point Black Hawks, classified as Class 6 this year. And they come into tonight's game with a record of 2 wins against 1 loss. They have beaten Spotsylvania. They did so big time last week, and they've beaten Independence. They lost big time to King George as well, and they're the real deal, Steve Peacock.
Yeah, King George is. They're probably the favorite to win the district, and Eastern View is going to be looking to see if they can change that outcome. But it takes one game at a time. They're going to be facing a good Brooke Point team, but Eastern View is ready for the challenge.
All right, Brooke Point on offense. Quarterback is Gabe Dombeck. He wears number 6. You can see Brooke Point here operating somewhat in a spread, although Coach Lowry of Eastern View told me you're going to see a lot of run-pass option. Here's a pass out into flat, completed at the 25-yard line, maybe out close to the 26 for a gain of 6 yards. 2nd and 4 coming up.
So what's going to happen, Mark, is that Brooke Point's going to play that top style offense. Corners need to press hard and press up on the man. Don't give him a cushion.
You're going to hear the name Daniel Coles mentioned frequently tonight. He's really, I would say, Brooke Point's go-to player. He had 4 touchdowns a week ago against Spotsylvania. He's in the backfield behind the quarterback there, Gabe Dombeck. Daniel Coles is his name. He gets the call here. Straight ahead he goes. Needs to get to the 30-yard line for a first down. And that second effort does give him that. That'll move the sticks for Brooke Point.
Yeah, it looks like he got just enough for that first down. But again, after that initial hit, he kept his legs turning, Mark, and was able to pick up that first down.
All right. We're looking at Brooke Point here, the Blackhawks, in the black and red. They get the first down. It's 1st and 10 from their own 31. Opening minute here this first quarter. We are at Brooke Point High School in Stafford County. You're looking at the Eastern View defense showing some pressure here on 1st and 10. Dombeck, little play action, swings it near side to the 30. And that is Reggie Hill, it looks like, on the reception. There it is. No, my mistake. It's Daniel Coles, number 3. That's a better view, what we're looking at right here.
Yeah, Eastern View is going to, the linebackers are going to have to really figure this offense out quick, because what they're going to do is they like to spread you out and they like to throw it when you get pressure on the quarterback and get right up on those receivers. And the deeps, and like right now, it looks like they're playing, looks like a 2-man zone, but it's going to be a timeout here.
In the backfield is Isaiah Z. Willis, as Eastern View calls its first timeout. Well, welcome to our broadcast. Again, Brooke Point won the toss, opted to receive. Eastern View kicked off. Brooke Point on the touchback started offensively at the 20-yard line and 3 plays later, they've got it out to the 41 and a first down. So Coach Lowry said that a lot of RPOs, run pass option with Brooke Point. He talks about them being very physical. And with the RPOs so much in abundance, Steve, that means that Eastern View's defenders must play disciplined football.
Yeah, they got to play disciplined football, Mark, like you said, and they got to find that ball because on that RPO, run pass option, that quarterback will hold it into that running back's gut just the last minute. If he pulls it out and drops back to pass, you can't have your safeties cheating up to play the run. They need to play the position, especially in deep.
All right, Gabe Donbeck, the Blackhawk quarterback, has his team set here at 1st and 10 at their own 41. Man in motion is Daniel Coles. Here's a little RPO out to Daniel Coles. And remember, this is the sort of look that we're going to be seeing a lot tonight with Brooke Point. And Daniel Coles, Steve, is the player that Brooke Point wants to get the football into the hands of that young man.
Well, yeah, he's mainly their focal point of their offense. And their quarterback is good. He doesn't turn it over. And they're looking to get him out, spread out, and get into the flats so he can work like one-on-one.
And he picked up 10 yards and a first down for the Blackhawks. Again, they now have it in Cyclone territory at the Eastern View 47. That's Daniel Coles in motion. Here's Don Beck, the quarterback. Plenty of time. They protect him well. Nice throw out there to Coles. Far sidelines, and Coles is going to go untouched into the end zone from 47 yards out. So it's a touchdown pass to Coles from Donbeck. This is a good-looking drive, Steve Peacock, by Brooke Point, and they did it. Average field position started their own 20, and they were just getting 10 yards a pop, so that 47-yard pass for a touchdown.
Well, two things happened on that play, Mark. When he rolled out and had Daniel Coles right there, he would sit there. Our safety and our defensive back both went up, and then Coles kept running on his route deep down, just on a sideline route, and the quarterback found him perfect, and then whoever else had the safety trying to get over couldn't get over in time.
All right, on for the point after is Matthew Moss. Looks like Daniel Coles is the holder as well. His kick was blocked, no good. That could loom largely later in the game, but again, if you're just tuning in, Brooke Point took the opening kickoff with a touchback, actually. They started on their own 20-yard line, and then 6 plays later, we had the 47-yard touchdown pass from Gabe Donbeck to Daniel Coles. And we were just mentioning that Coles' name would be mentioned frequently tonight, and you can see why. All right, so Brooke Point strikes first, Steve, and following the ensuing kickoff, we'll see Eastern View's offense for the first time tonight. We have their starters. But right now, I want to tell you this broadcast is brought to you in part by Found & Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. Found & Sons at 825-3530. And, of course, we are live, and our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. All right, we are the Culpeper Media Network. Mark O'Connell, Steve Peacock, Johnny Krawchuk up top behind the camera, and Nicole Wooten back in the studio in Culpeper. And we appreciate everyone's efforts. We appreciate everyone tuning in and watching and supporting both Cyclones and Blue Devils football this season and in all seasons. Now, Steve, Eastern View comes in tonight with a record of 2-0. They had a bye week last week, and I asked Coach Lowry, did it help you? And he said, well, not really, because they had they were black flagged almost every day. And what does that term mean to you? On this run back here, maybe we better hold off and see if we want to revisit that later, as it looks like a touchdown-saving tackle was just made on Eastern View's Amari Robinson, who almost took it to the house.
Yeah, he was taking it to the house. He had the ball was set up perfectly by Eastern View, and then he just started rambling down. Broke out and was all the way down. Amari Robinson to about the 2-yard line where he got tripped up, and it looks like they're going to mark the ball. They're going to bring it in further. They're going to.
Not really sure at what point he went down. He was tripped up. That did save a touchdown, at least momentarily. The officials here will put it on the ground here momentarily, we hope.
But that's the way to answer a score right there, is take it right back against them.
To the 2-yard line. Well, might as well get your vocal cords warmed up, it looks like. So Eastern View on offense here in great position following that kickoff return by Amari Robinson, who gets it down to the Blackhawk 2-yard line. And this is Eastern View's response to Brooke Point's opening touchdown drive. AP Hall is your quarterback for Eastern View. Jaden Williams back there. He's the ball carrier. And he will get into the end zone from 2 yards out. Just like that, the Cyclones have answered.
Fear the wind. It's a Cyclone touchdown, number 2. Jaden Williams, in for the touchdown.
Well, your offense didn't have to do a whole lot of work there when your special teams gives you first and goal from the 2-yard line.
Exactly. Now this is crucial right here for the extra point.
All right, this score comes with 9:16 to play in the first quarter. Braden Capolini on for the go-ahead point after. AP Hall is the holder. The hold, the kick, up, plenty of room, and it's good. 7-6 our score in favor of the Cyclones with 9:16 to play here in the first quarter. And we mentioned our generous supporters of Cyclones and Blue Devils football on the Culpeper Media Network, and they include Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. That's Battlefield. All right. Well, Steve, we mentioned Eastern View had the bye week last week. Now they're back in action against what Coach Lowry described as a very physical Brooke Point team. And I think we saw some evidence of that. When you looked at that opening drive, you had Gabe Dombeck, the quarterback. He never really was pressured. They protected him quite well in that drive.
They did protect him, but he's also buying protection, too, behind that run-pass option. And right now it's going to be interesting to see if the defense is going to make some changes right now with their defense, because this is what Brooke Point likes to do, is that RPO. And you got to be able to find the football. And the way to disrupt that RPO is having your defensive line get pressure, get penetration. If they can do that, it disrupts the timing. But the outside linebackers have also got to be aware that if they're showing run, you got to be right there. And if they show run, you come up. That's when they slip that back right out, and he's wide open in the flat.
All right, Braden Capolini, who a moment ago gave the Cyclones a 1-point lead when he connected on the point after touchdown. 7-6 our score with 9:16 to play here in this first quarter at Brooke Point High School. And the Blackhawks, looks like, well, they're not going to be able to return this one, or can they? I thought his foot was in the end zone, and instead the return man hit pretty hard about after he crossed the 20-yard line. And making that special teams tackle for Eastern View was number 17, Eddie Holmes. Steve, I thought as his foot was in the end zone, they called it a touchback.
That's what I'm thinking, too. I agree with you, Mark, but they didn't. They let it go. I mean, now it's what he's telling me, both feet must be in the end zone before they call it back. But anyway, he got smacked by Eastern View.
All right, so this is just average field position as the Blackhawks start on their own 22, but this is their second possession. And remember, on that first one, they started their own 20, and 6 plays and 80 yards later, they had that touchdown from Dombeck to Coles. They go back on offense. This is the running back Coles straight ahead. He's going to get out to about the 25-yard line before the Cyclones stand him up and push him back. So Daniel Coles is really the workhorse for this team, fair to say?
Yep, I would say he's the major focal point of their offense. And as he's wrapped up by Brett Clatterbaugh, and that's going to be a big matchup this evening. Watching how Clatterbaugh is going to be able to defend on Daniel Holmes.
All right, so on a 4-yard pickup, it's 2nd and 6. This is Coles again. Little hesitation, stutter step, then burst through that little running lane that he had. He got across the 30, out to it looks like the 33, and that should be enough for a Blackhawk first down. Let's check the spot here. Yeah, it is. They moved the sticks. So now the line of scrimmage to 33. If you're just tuning in, our score is 7-6. First quarter action. Brooke Point opening possession went the length of the field, 80 yards. And the touchdown, the point after was no good. And then the Eastern View retaliated rather quickly after that, thanks to that nice special, the kickoff return by, I believe we said that was Amari Robinson, down to the Eastern View 2-yard line. And then one play later, Jaden Williams ran it in. And then the point after by Braden Capolini gets you up to date on our current score is 7-6. Brooke Point on that last play got across the 35 to the 37, a 4-yard pickup. 2nd and 6 coming up for the Blackhawks. Again, Gabe Donbeck is your quarterback, and a lot of run-pass options from this offense. We've mentioned it, and just how important it is for each player to be disciplined, Steve, as they defend against this.
Now, the officials are keeping it. There's an issue on the field or something. This is like the 2nd game in a row where officials can't get the marking right on where the ball is. Now because I don't know what the delay is.
You know, there is quite a bit of waiting as we go from play to play, don't we? All right, here is 2nd down and 6. Pressure shown by Eastern View. Another pass option or run pass option. It was faked, and then it was incomplete pass intended for Marquise Thornley. Incomplete, and now that's going to bring up 3rd and 6. So here's an opportunity, if you will, for the Cyclones, Steve, to shut this down and maybe get the ball back to their offensive teammates.
I agree. Maybe you might want to do a little stunt or blitz up front, up in the middle, and see if you can get pressure on that quarterback. Maybe send Brett Clatterbaugh on a loop coming in. But again, you got to watch out for that RPO. It's tough to defend. It's almost like defending the single wing or the double wing. You got to find that ball.
And maybe it's going to be a little easier as they're assessing a penalty against the Blackhawks right here, and they're going to mark it all the way back to the 27.
Yeah, it's a holding call, so they're going to take the penalty rather than take the down, make it 3rd and 6. Now it's going to make it
2nd and 16, I believe.
Yep, you're right.
From the 27 now. And you're looking at that Blackhawk offensive backfield. Donbeck, the quarterback there in the center, man in motion, 34. Z. Willis, he gets the ball, and he gets that lost yardage back. He's going to bring up about 3rd and 10 there.
You see what the offense, what Brooke Point's doing. Like I said, they want to exploit matchups, Mark. They want to be able to get Eastern View into a man-on-man, single coverage, and with nobody circling the safety not being deep enough, they're looking to, probe that Eastern View defense. Eastern View has got to just play discipline and get in there and try to keep pressure on that quarterback.
All right, here is a 3rd and 10 for the Blackhawks. This has been their situation they haven't encountered yet, a 3rd and long. All right, here's Donbeck. He's got time, throws. Receiver, but tackled pretty quickly out there by Eastern View's number 9, DeAndre Brock. And that's going to be short of a 1st down, brings on the punting team for Brooke Point. So, Steve, Eastern View defense does its job.
He sure did. And that was a great play by Brock. Did he close hard or fast? He was on that receiver before that receiver could even make his turn. Great play by Brock.
2-yard pickup, brings up 4th and 8. And the punter is Marquise Thornley. Here's Thornley's kick. It's a short one, but let's check the roll. And it looks like it's going to take somewhat of a Brooke Point bounce as they will down it at the Eastern View 32. So now, Steve, we're going to see the Eastern View offense in full swing here because the first time they came on the field, they looked at a 1st and goal from the 2, and it only took them 1 play to punch it in. So now we'll see Eastern View starting at its own 32-yard line. These offensive starters tonight, quarterback A.P. Hall. In the backfield, Jaden Williams, number 2. Receivers, Detrez Gahagan, number 4. Amari Robinson, a receiver. Will Butler, number 21. And Brett Clatterbaugh, the tight end. We'll set your offensive front here momentarily. Here is A.P. Hall on offense. Here comes some pressure. He throws. This one incomplete. And it looks like it was intended for number 4, Detrez Gahagan. So up front, your starters tonight include Dominic Simendinger, number 51. Number 55 is Jaquan White. Number 64, Antonio Heredia. Number 65, Grayson Yates. And number 69, Brandon Weaver. Those are your offensive starters. And here is 2nd and 10 for the Cyclones from their own 32. We've got 6:52 to play here in the first quarter. And the Cyclones right now up a point at 7-6. And here is A.P. Hall. A.P. Hall's going to have to keep it. Forced out of bounds near the 35-yard line, I believe. It'll be a short pickup. It'll bring up a 3rd and long for the Cyclones.
Right, and see, they went to the short side on that throw, that rollout for A.P. Hall, and basically Brett didn't get deep enough or take his man deep enough. And so what Brooke Point did was say, let's use the sideline as extra defender, and that's exactly what they did to force him out.
All right, and actually held him to no gain. So it's 3rd and 10 now for the Cyclones from their own 32-yard line. And this play is caught in the backfield for a loss. This is Jake Williams being tackled by number 6, Jordan Grayson. So Brooke Point answers the call on defense, and they force a Eastern View punt here.
Yeah, that was a good defensive series by Brooke Point. They're quick, and see, they're not a big mark. You look them up front, they're not overly big, but they're quick, and they're getting penetration, and that's what happened there. The Eastern View's line is probably going to have to cut down its splits a little bit more and be able to, so they don't get in those creases and pressure the quarterback.
All right, AP Hull is the punter, and his kick is a high kick. It's going to be fielded inside the 40-yard line. And on the return into Eastern View territory, we'll check the return man there. It looks like it was number 18. And it was Javier Hubbard for the Blackhawks, Steve. The return there gives the Blackhawks a short field to work with as they get back on offense, trailing 7-6 with 5:54 to play in this first quarter. Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473 and CFC Farm and Home Center, the service, knowledge, and products you need for your farm, home, pets, livestock, and equine since 1932. All right. Blackhawks at the Eastern View 48. We'll play action again. He's got a receiver over the middle and dragged down inside the 15-yard line. And that was the receiver there, Reggie Hill. Steve, a lot of RPO again, and I think he may have faked a few people out.
Yeah, he did. He faked the whole linebackers out from right there on the on that pass, and they got behind the linebacker, and right there they had almost scored a touchdown. But see, that's what I'm talking about. The RPO, you've got to stay disciplined.
All right, now the Blackhawks have it 1st and 10 from the Cyclone 13. Now we got a whistle and we've got stoppage. I want to tell you, while we had a chance, that this broadcast is brought to you in part by UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center. Is here to care for you and your loved ones at our quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Learn more at uvahealth.com. Also want to mention K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies, now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. That's K&M. From grass to trees, they aim to please. 825-8371. All right. We've got a 1st and 10 Blackhawks from the Cyclone 13-yard line. Gabe Dombeck, your quarterback. Man behind him, Daniel Coles. He's dangerous. Coles is the ball carrier. He tries that left side, and he gets a couple yards. Line of scrimmage was the 13. Looks like he got to the 11, and that's where it's going to be second and 9 here for the Blackhawks.
Mark, here's where the defense needs to really step up and get some penetration and not allow a touchdown here. Because I don't know if Brooke Point will go for a field goal if they don't get it on a 3rd down conversion. But right now they got 2nd and 9, and they've got, because you can still get a 1st down without being a touchdown.
Yeah. All right. A.J. Guzman in motion. Play action. This is Daniel Coles. Coles bounces to the outside. He's looking for the pylon, and it looks like he got there. It is. It's a touchdown. Daniel Coles from 12 yards out. Touchdown Blackhawks. That's Coles' 2nd touchdown of the game. Blackhawks go back on top 12-7 with 4:15 to play here in the first quarter.
Are they going to go for 2, or are they going to try a field goal, a point after?
I think you go for 2 here to go up 14-7. What do you think?
I do too. Exactly. If this was, I'd be even more saying going for it if it was in the second half. In the first half, you could still kick the field goal.
You mean the point after?
You mean the point after.
Well, you're probably right. Although when you have Daniel Coles on your team, you sort of roll the dice and anything can happen. All right, on for the point after is number 88, Matthew Moss. Coles is the holder. His kick is up. It looks like it's going to clear the crossbar, and it does. So our score, 13-7 in favor of the Blackhawks. Steve, that band is kind of loud. I have to really raise the volume here of what we're saying.
Well, maybe I'll get up here and shut the door here in a minute. The thing is what's happening right now to Eastern View on defense is that they're kind of out of sorts because they haven't faced an offense like this, and there's a lot of misdirection, a lot of fake handoffs, and when they show run, then they pass out of it. Our linebackers have got to stay disciplined enough to watch and follow that football. As soon as that football gets pulled back, the quarterback's going to throw. Well, you're looking around, man, you're seeing guys behind you, and we have no deep safety cover, so we're only playing a cover 2 zone, and I think you're going to have to go to that in order to combat this and make sure, and you got to tell your defensive linemen, penetration.
Well said. Well, Matthew Moss, who a moment ago connected to the point after, now has it's teed it up at the 40-yard line. And so Eastern View finds itself in a situation it hasn't been in this season, Steve, in the sense that they're playing from behind.
Yeah, and like I said, we knew Brooke Point was going to give them a game. I mean, they're a Division VI school, and they got some athletes, especially on offense, and they've got to be able to figure it out in order to defend it.
All right, here's the kick. On the ground, picked up inside the 20-yard line. Short return by number 7 for Eastern View. That's Amari Robinson. So average field position for the Cyclone offense as they come back onto the field, trailing 13-7. Well, we talked about Eastern View having a bye week last week. We filmed the Culpeper-Fauquier game a week ago, and tonight Culpeper's playing Liberty.
Just up the road here at Liberty in Bealton. But Mark, other thing my observation real quick is when Coles made that touchdown, he ran away from Brett Clatterbaugh.
Straight ahead goes the ball carrier, Jaden Williams, out to the 35. 5 yards on the pickup. 2nd and 5 coming up. And we've got 3:57, as you can see, clock ticking here in the first quarter. 13-7, that's the correct score. And Brooke Point has looked good on offense here tonight. And we've got a long way to go, of course. Let's see how Eastern View responds to that second touchdown by Brooke Point.
Yeah, I think they're going to respond well. They just got to really get the defense figured out.
All right, there's Clatterball readjusting and setting up there. Jaden Williams, the ball carrier once again. Straight ahead he goes. Across the 35, out to about the 37 or 38. So it's going to bring up a 3rd and short. Very manageable situation for the Cyclones. Let's see what they decide to do here on 3rd down.
Well, I'd stick with that power running because their defensive line of Brooke Point is pretty light.
Call it 3rd and 2. AP Hall's going to throw it. He's got Will Butler, who breaks the tackle and picks up some yards after catch, and an easy first down for the Cyclones.
That was a nice play. Good fake, good play action. Right there, froze that linebacker, and Butler was able to get around on a little wheel route down the side and make the catch and pick up the first down.
Yep, 14 yards in a reception by Will Butler. Cyclones now in Blackhawk territory at the 49. AP Hall, play action, throws it out there to Will Butler, and Butler, some determined effort there, gets inside the Brooke Point 45-yard line. It looks down to the 44. So he picked up 5 yards, brings up 2nd and 5.
Yeah, and I think Coach Lowry's looking at take a page out of Dwight Hazelwood's playbook. He's now doing a little bit of run. Not RPO, but doing a lot of play action, short passes, and moving down the field.
All right, 2nd and 5, ball on the ground. AP Hall picks it up, rolls to his right, looks downfield. Let's see who's got it. Looks like he got a receiver out there, and there was number 7, Amari Robinson, and Brett Clatterball was in the vicinity as well.
Yeah, someone ran a busted route because you shouldn't have 2 receivers that close together, but the bad snap, I think, disrupted the timing. And we'd almost had it. It's just that A.B. Hull was running and throwing it. And when you kind of do that and don't get your foot plant, the ball's going to sail on you.
Sure will. Well, here's 3rd and 5. Certainly a manageable situation for the Cyclones, Steve. 3rd and 5 at the Brooke Point 44. AP Hall was trying to disguise the play, it looks like, and he didn't fool the Blackhawks. They dropped him for a loss, and combining for the tackle was Joseph Nagante and Jordan Grayson. And so rather than 3rd and 5, it would now have a 4th and long on that big loss.
Yeah, big loss there, and because it wasn't very well executed, Mark, and Brooke Point had it snuffed out really quick. And now, that was a big loss because Eastern View was moving the ball.
They were at the Brooke Point 44, and the loss moves it back to the Eastern View 45, so that's 4th and 16. AP Hall, not in your picture here, will likely, he is set up to punt. High snap, gets it down. Here's his kick. Looks like a pretty good one. Going to be fielded at the 22. Across the 25, and that's going to be it for the return man there. Javier Hubbard, the return specialist for the Blackhawks. And so Brooke Point goes back on offense with 12 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Blackhawks up 13-7. They won the toss and opted to receive to start things tonight. And so we've got a long way to go. But as we get to the start of the third quarter, the Eastern View will be receiving the third quarter kickoff. Almost at the end of the first quarter. Stu, we've talked a lot about both teams. What other takeaways have you made so far watching this game?
Well, it's a game of basically the offense of Brooke Point against the defense of Eastern View. And right now, Eastern View's defense is kind of, caught back on their heels. They don't know whether it's going to be a run or a pass, and they're just not, paying attention to the football. But what I like seeing, and give Brooke Point credit, they're going to their stars. They're not disguising anything, and they're moving the ball pretty well down the field.
Okay, Brooke Point back on offense. Man in motion there is Coles. Here's Dombeck. He's got some pressure this time for the first time tonight, and he's able to get rid of it. So incomplete pass. There's a penalty flag along the far sideline.
Yeah, I wonder, it could be an ineligible lineman downfield or the call or hold. They threw it down the internal part. It's probably going to be a hold against Brooke Point.
Yeah, they're pointing along on that sideline there.
Hold
where
on.
the receiver was.
Yeah.
And
or,
the pass was
or legal procedure, moved before the ball was snapped.
Mm-hmm.
They're discussing it.
Well, as they do so, we'll just remind you our score is 13-7 in favor of the Blackhawks. Daniel Coles of Brooke Point has 2 touchdowns. And for Eastern View, the touchdown by Jaden Williams from 2 yards out. And we mentioned that Culpeper's in action tonight against Liberty. Next week, September 22nd, we plan to be at Cortland and film the Cortland-Culpeper game.
Yep. That's going to be a tough game for Culpeper.
All right, so here's the penalty being assessed against Brooke Point. Haven't really signaled what the crime was, have they?
No, let's see what the hold. Oh, intentional grounding.
Well, that's a loss of down, isn't
Loss
it?
of down. Yep.
It is intentional. Yeah.
Loss of down. Yep.
Second down and 17 then for Brooke Point.
Mm-hmm.
Mentioned that Gabe Dombeck, number 9, a junior, is the starting quarterback for the Blackhawks. Behind him is Daniel Coles. I mean, he's having a good season so far. He had 4 touchdowns against Spotsylvania in that big win by Brooke Point earlier in the season. Last week, let's see. Actually, it was last week Brooke Point defeated Spotsylvania. Here's a throw near side, caught at the 25-yard line. Receiver stiff arms one defender, gets out of bounds at about the 35. And hauling that pass in was number 11, Jacob Dalton, his first catch of the night. And looks like he's going to be about 2 yards shy of a first down. But it was that was a pass play completed on 2nd and 17. Ball out now to the 35-yard line, and you're looking at a 3rd and 2.
Mark, I'm watching right now, and EV Eastern View is playing on their toes a little bit. They're really not sure what's going to happen. Is it going to be a run or it's going to be a pass? And with that, when you don't have that connectivity, which way they're going, it's Brooke Point is just exploiting what the defense of Eastern View is giving them.
All right, here's 3rd and 2. Will it be Coles? It is Coles. And he's going to be very close to a Brooke Point first down. Several players in on the tackle for Eastern View or in the vicinity. Number 55 is Jaquan White. And that's the signal that indicates the quarter is over. We've played one here at Brooke Point High School, where it is Blackhawks 13, Cyclones 7. We'll take a break and come back for the start of the second quarter. Right after this, you're watching Cyclones football on the Culpeper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community supporters.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. CFC Farm and Home Center, supplying your lawn and garden, pet, and farm needs since 1932. Hometown pricing and outstanding service at CFC Farm and Home. Found in Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with cash imprints. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and over 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. Battlefield Automotive. Nominations are now being accepted for the local area sports Hall of Fame. Nominate anyone that you feel is deserving of historical local sports recognition at localsportshistory.com/HOF. K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies. Now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones at our high-quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Visit uvahealth.com for more information.
All right, welcome back to our broadcast. Start of the second quarter here on 3rd down and short. It was a direct snap to Daniel Coles. It looks like it is Coles. And you go to your go-to guy on a play like that, and you get a first down, and a new set of downs, Steve.
Yeah, he's tackled by Brett Clatterball right there. But again, Daniel Combs runs pretty hard, and he's a load to bring down.
Yeah, talented player. All right, new set of downs for the Blackhawks. As we start this second quarter, they now have 1st and 10 at their own 38. And they go back to Coles. And the Cyclones do a pretty good job of bottling him up near the 40-yard line for a short pickup of perhaps 2 yards on the play.
Now Eastern View's got to be aware of the sprint option where they're going to try to run out in the flat, and the quarterback is going to make a decision whether or not to throw or pass. Let's see if they run it.
On 2nd down and 8. Gabe Donbeck, the quarterback. Man in motion. Good job by Donbeck to corral that snap. Hand it off to Coles. And Coles went forward to about the 43. A pickup of 3 yards. Going to bring up 3rd and about 5. Brett Clatterball in on the tackle for Eastern View. Also in there, been on some tackles is number 10, Keegan Brown. And some of the other players that we need to mention, number 17 is Eddie Holmes.
See if the defense can get penetration here. Stop them here on 3rd down.
On 3rd and 5. It's a pass. It's caught near that first down marker. We'll check the spot. Making the tackle on the receiver, Amari Robinson. Hauling it in there was number 11, Jacob Dalton. Looks like he's short, about a yard.
About a yard, and see if they're, Brooke Point's going to take it here and try to go for it. Now Eastern View's got to don't jump.
Well, do you think they'll try to call them off, draw them off sides, or will they really go for it if they don't draw them off sides? I think you're in pretty good shape if you do. If you got Coles, you only need a yard.
Yeah, but watch that football.
Watch that football. Little personnel change in there. I would say this is probably going to be your Wildcat formation and a direct snap to Daniel Coles here on 4th and 1. And here is Coles. Looking for a little running room, and the Cyclones do a nice job of bottling him up before he can get past that line of scrimmage, and the Cyclones have held, and that's going to force a turnover on downs.
And see where the spot is, though, Mark. If they get a generous spot here,
Well, even if it's generous, look where they put the ball down. He's about a yard shy of a first down.
Yep.
Yeah, no question about that one.
Eastern
All right,
View-
turnover on downs. Steve, is that a psychological lift for the
Yes.
Cyclones?
Yes, it is, because now, hey, you made a stop. You're starting to figure out what they're doing on offense. And so now for Eastern View, just operate your offense and see if we can get a score.
And Eastern View's offense, outstanding field position. They're going to start at the Brooke Point 47. Look at the clock, 9:27 to play here in the second quarter. No change in the score from the first. It was 13-7 at the end of the quarter. AP Hall, the quarterback. He gets away from one tackler, turns it upfield. He's got some running room. 20, 10, 5, end zone. That is AP Hall. The play stands. It's a 47-yard gallop for touchdown.
Fear the win, Cyclone touchdown. AP Hull for 45 yards. What a run, Mark.
Really the thing was set up. Might be a good time to see the replay of this one.
Yeah, watch right here on this. It just a straight run for AP Hull. Is a big kid, strong. Once he got onto that second level, there was nobody there for Brooke Point, and he was able to lumber and slumber and on all the way down to the end zone for a TD. Great play, good effort by AP Hall.
Well, I think what I really liked about that, Steve, is that it's true he had a running lane, but he had to get there. In fact, to get there, he had to shrug that first tackler, would-be tackler.
And he did. The would-be tackler tried an arm tackle him. You're not going to bring Hull down with an arm tackle.
So 14-13 in favor of the Cyclones now. They're back on top. So 47-yard run by AP Hull on first down. After the Eastern View defense had forced a turnover on downs, the Cyclone offense took over on the Blackhawk 47-yard line, and they only needed the one play behind the run of AP Hull and some really good blocking up front that opened that running lane for that Cyclone quarterback. Well, we're in the second quarter, and we tell you this broadcast is brought to you in part by Found & Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. Found & Sons, 825-3530. And Battlefield, Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. That's Battlefield. And, of course, we've mentioned to you we're live this year. Our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556.
All right, now we'll see what Eastern View can do.
So Capolini, who a moment ago gave the Cyclones a 1-point lead, has teed it up. Here's his kickoff. This one may be headed, not quite to the end zone. This will be returned from inside the 5 by Marquise. I believe we said his last name was Marquise Thornley. That's correct. We got an injured Cyclone on the play.
See who the injured player is. Slow to get it. Maybe it might be cramp or.
Yeah, trying. Oh, that is. Looks like the number is. Is it number 9? That's DeAndre Brock.
Now looking at his knee.
Well, wait a minute. Who was the injured player from 2 weeks ago? Was it Trayvon? Trayvon Brock,
Yeah.
right. This
like,
could very well be DeAndre Brock.
Yeah, but it looks like it's a cramp the way he's grabbing that calf. Those things can hurt, Mark. They can hurt.
Well, if it is a cramp, it won't be long before we're back in action. And that being said, we'll tell you that this broadcast is brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between. Imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473. All right. Well, around the league last week, we were talking about we filmed the Culpeper Fauquier game last week at Broman Field. That was a high-scoring affair, sounded like a basketball score, Steve, 55-35.
Right.
And that was actually stopped with 6 minutes plus to play in the fourth quarter with the Lightning. All right, the player back on his feet now, that is Brock, isn't it?
Yep.
It is DeAndre Brock. Also in action last week, if you look at the Battlefield District, we mentioned Culpeper losing to Fauquier. Spotsylvania, a winner over Caroline, 34-28. King George continues to roll. They beat Riverbend 37-13. Stafford, big winner over Colgan, 38-19. And Liberty, 46. James Monroe, 6. Well, King George is the team that has defeated Brooke Point this season, and they did so in large fashion. So King George obviously looms large for every team in this district, Steve.
Sure does. Well, they got the players.
All right, here's Don Beck throwing to Coles out of the backfield to the 30-yard line.
Mark, that was a screen pass, and it was well executed because it caught Eastern View napping. If it wasn't for that tackle out there, making that one-on-one tackle, that had big play potential written all over it because they sold it well.
Yep, picked up 5 yards, did Coles, brings up 2nd and 5. Here we are in the second quarter, 8:35 to go. Our score, 14-13, Eastern View. And the game has been as close as a score. There's nothing misleading about it.
No, you're right.
All right, Don Beck, the quarterback, throws near side, incomplete, through the hands of the intended receiver, Reggie Hull.
Yeah, he had running room too. If he had yards after the catch, if he could have made the catch.
Well, Steve, if you look at that play, and anything can happen, obviously, but
right.
If you look at that play, that's really one of the only, would you say, miscues or off plays that Brooke Point has had offensively.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And not the other thing is it's been well officiated. Not too many penalties. Well, I think 2.
And here is 3rd and 5 for the Blackhawks from their own 30. Clock stop, 8:15 to go. Second quarter, 14-13 Cyclones. Don Beck, here's a penalty flag coming in as Don Beck's going to be chased. He gets away from the rush, and then he tries to stiff arm number 6, Jaheim Fry. Fry held on and made the tackle. Let's check the penalty flag.
It's going to come back, Mark, and I think it's going to be the legal procedure. It looks like Holmes started just a little bit early for the snap, or he moved, and that is, if that's the call. But he threw it in the vicinity of the deep of the line, so it could be a hold. So let's see what the...
Well, I'll have you track that as we tell you this broadcast brought to you in part by UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center. Here to care for you and your loved ones at our quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Learn more at uvahealth.com.
See, he's coming over here to make the call. Yeah, illegal procedure. That's what I thought it was.
And a face mask against Eastern View. They offset, and it's 3rd down. So really you're repeating the down, and it's 3rd and 5.
Now, I didn't see the face mask, so that had to come in late. Now you got to be ready. Eastern View's got to be ready for this RPO. And what's going to do, he's going to try to fake it inside and try to find Holmes on the flat. Combs, rather.
RPO, run pass option, Steve, on 3rd and 5. What will the Blackhawks do? And if you're the Cyclones, you're watching carefully here and playing discipline. Don Beck has time. This one incomplete, thrown on over the head of the intended receiver. He was in a little bit of traffic as well, and that was intended for Jacob Dalton. Brings up 4th and 5.
Yeah, I would now here if I was Eastern View, I'd put a little pressure on this punter right here.
And the punter is Marquise Thornley. Where's jersey number 5? He's a senior.
Because you look at their little line up front trying to block on punt return. I mean, you could really.
Good snap. Thornley's going to keep it. 25, 30. Here comes the block and the tackle, and the ball is loose at the 35-yard line.
Let's see.
And, you know, if the ball stays at the 35 in possession of Brooke Point, that should be enough for a first down. They needed 5 yards. They were at the 30. Yeah. And it is. You see the signal there. And I think the Blackhawks are kind of fortunate that that ball was down by contact because it looked like it was in the field of play.
Yeah, it was. But, I mean, do you think that was a punt run, fake punt all the way, or do you think it was?
Or was it busted?
I think it was busted.
Do you?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to say, but he needed 5 yards, and that's exactly what he got from
Yeah,
his
well,
set
I
it
mean, he had to make a run because I
Right.
thought he was going to be blocked the way he was running into it, and he just took off.
And when you have a punter like Marquise Thornley, who's also a wide receiver, means he probably has a little bit of speed to go along the way. Daniel Cole straight ahead gets to the 40. 2nd and 5 coming up for the Blackhawks. And clock running down to 7:10 and counting. 14-13 in favor of the Cyclones here in the second quarter.
And you know, Mark, that's got to be a little bit debilitating for Eastern View to, when you stop them on downs and then they score, they get first down on pickup on a fake punt.
Right. Well, let's see how they respond. Here's 2nd and 4 from the 41. Dombeck. Play action. Here comes some pressure. Watch out. Can he get away? And he does, and he throws it, and incomplete. He did a good job of getting away from what looked like to be a sure sack.
Well, he made an illegal forward pass, too. There's a flag on the play, and that's coming back.
That means he crossed the 41 and he threw it?
Yep.
All right.
I was watching from up here. He did it.
Mm-hmm. You had it pegged all the way, didn't you, Steve?
Yep. Now, if he fortunately for Eastern View, he made a bad throw. Now, this should be a legal forward pass.
Yeah, there's the signal there for illegal forward pass.
That's another loss of down there too, isn't it?
Well, not if they mark it off here.
Right.
It's going to bring up a 3rd and long. See, there he goes.
Yep. It's only a 5-yard penalty.
Back to it looks like the 36. Yeah, 5 yards. Well, by my calculations, that makes it 3rd and 9.
That's also loss of down. Loss of down, that's what I thought. So now brings up 3rd. I'm saying 3rd and 4. But you're right, I'm thinking 3rd and 9.
Well, it is. If you look at, they got to get to the 45 for a first down. And it's at the 36. So 3rd and 9 here. Here's Dombeck. Does the blocking hold up? He's flushed out of the pocket. He runs with it. He's at the 40. Gets away from one tackler, and he's headed for that first down marker. He's pretty close to it.
Well, he's showing me some speed, Mark, getting around. He was running for his life. And, you're trying to trip him up, but it looks like,
he's got enough for a first down. Good effort by the quarterback there, Gabe Dombeck, the junior.
He's limping a little bit. I mean, he's quicker than what most people think he is.
He is very quick.
And, and again, it's demoralizing to the defense. You think you have him trapped in the backfield, and he gets free, and he picks up first down.
Yeah, a little bit like Houdini. All right. 1st and 10 now, Blackhawks from the 45. Dombeck will throw. He's got a receiver caught for another first down, and this is number 11, Jacob Dalton, into Eastern View territory down at about the 43.
Yeah, that was a play right there. It's a good pass, good play call because, again, he just sat down in that little zone that Eastern View's trying to, use in the backfield, and he just went there. He's lined up like a tight end and just was sitting there right by himself.
All right, 1st and 10 Blackhawks now. The Cyclone 42 will play action again. They swing it near side to number 2. That is Reggie Hill. Cyclones come up rather quickly at the 40 to stop him for a short pickup. Going to bring up 2nd and 8. And the clock will continue to run with 5:13 and counting here in the second quarter. 14-13 Cyclones.
Yeah, again, did you see how it was developed too? He was able to run out, it looked like, and then the receiver came in and then went out.
All right. Well, we've got a timeout, and our timeout sponsor is UVA Community Credit Union, strengthening the financial wellness of our members and the Culpeper community. UVACreditUnion.org. Broadcast brought to you in part by UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center, here to care for you and your loved ones at our quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Learn more at uvahealth.com. Also, CFC Farm and Home Center, the service, knowledge, and products you need for your farm, home, pets, livestock, and equine since 1932. That's CFC Farm and Home Center. All right. Well, we're down to 5:06 to play, second quarter. Timeout on the field. Our score is 14-13, Steve. It has been and likely will be an entertaining football game to view and broadcast.
It sure is. I mean, right now, it's interesting to see what Brooke Point's doing on offense. They're basically, it's more like, running a short offense, but they're picking up 5, 6, 7 yards every time, and it's easy to convert on first downs. And, of course, they got lucky in a couple plays that Eastern View just let them pick up that fourth down on that fake punt.
All right. Back in play we go. On a 1st and 10. Up the middle, Daniel Coles. Inside the Cyclone 30, down to about the 27. That's a 13-yard pickup for Daniel Coles. And yet a new set of downs for the Blackhawks.
And, Mark, what do you do when you see the most coaches say if you got a good defensive player and he's like Brett Clatterbaugh, what do? You run at him.
Run at him.
And exactly what they did right there.
All right, 1st and 10 Blackhawks, Cyclone 27-yard line. Blackhawks trailing by 1, but they are on the move here. They started this drive from their own 25, and they have pushed the ball down to the Eastern View 27. Don Beck, the quarterback, handing off Daniel Coles. Sutter step, gets to the outside, makes a move at the 10, makes another move, and then he only stopped him because he ran out of running room there at the 8-yard line, and that's a pickup of 19 yards by Daniel Coles. He already has 2 touchdowns. He may be threatening to add a third here.
Well, I've been sitting there telling, my defensive coordinator should be telling his team, where Coles goes, we need to get a hat on him, find him wherever he is in that offense, because basically he's just hiding. Another timeout, Mark.
All right. Well, I mentioned that our timeout sponsor is UVA Community Credit Union, strengthening the financial wellness of our members and the Culpeper community. UVACreditUnion.org. We also mentioned that we are live, and our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air at 718-7556. 4:27 to play, second quarter action. How about some of the other games in action, Steve? You following anyone beyond the Blue Devils playing the Liberty Eagles?
Well, I was getting a score of the UVA and Maryland game. It's 14-0 Virginia, but I don't have any other high school games. I know Culper's playing Liberty.
I think Orange is playing Harrisonburg. I'm not sure how Madison's doing. We got a good game. I would say this game has to be as entertaining maybe as any slated to be played tonight.
It's up and back, up and down, up and down.
What a good call by Johnny to say, we're going to film that Brooke Point Eastern View game this year.
Yep.
Oh, I'm glad we have. It's just, look at the score.
He fumbled right there.
Well, he lost his footing in the backfield, going to go down at the 11. That's a loss of 3 yards, going to bring up 2nd and goal from there.
This is where Eastern View's got to really get stout here on defense. But, Mark, I think the last time we were here, they didn't have a turf field. They had a grass field.
That sounds right. And I remember we talked about last week in anticipation of coming here, would I be able to look our records over and determine when we were last here? Well, I could have, but I forgot to do it. So I had to do that another time. And this looks like Cole straight ahead. He's fighting for yardage, gets a little help from his offensive lineman there as they help push him forward. He got the lost yardage back. He's down to about the 5, and that's where it's going to be 3rd and goal.
And, Mark, again, that's where Eastern View, he's running into a pile. Somebody's got to get down low and take his legs out and tackle him. You can't, because, see, I don't like that rule where offensive linemen can push now and help your running back into the end zone. That used to be a call, a penalty, and now they have allowed it, and I don't like it.
Is that sort of the
equivalent
of a scrub?
Yep, you couldn't aid the runner. And that's aiding the
scrum?
runner. Yep, scrum in
Scrum,
rugby,
yeah.
in rugby parlance.
Yeah. 3rd and goal now from the 5. Will it be Daniel Coles answering the call for the Blackhawks? Man in motion here. They do go back to Coles. He makes a move, but the Cyclones upend him at the 3-yard line. And it looked like for Eastern View, Detrez Gahagan and Aiden Grimsley combining for the tackle.
Now here you go. Now it's going to be interesting. They're going to go for it. You know, if they're going to go for it, they're going to look for Coles. Or they're going to try a field goal.
Well, I think you go for it here if you're Brooke Point. What do you think?
I do too. I mean, you're down here. I mean, you got to.
Say it's fourth. You know,
unless you have confidence in your kicker to get you 3 points, and therefore it'd be 16-14.
Right. But you have 4th and goal from the 3. You have Daniel Coles. If you don't get it, Eastern View starts at its 3-yard line.
Yeah, and right now it looks like Brooke Point is letting the clock run down to the.
Right, and so you look at the clock running down here. They're thinking about time management for certain.
Yeah, here they go, timeout.
And they have taken a timeout. So it is an interesting call. I mean, you would say this is a chip shot, if you will, for a field goal. But do you want to go up 16-14? But then a field goal wins it for the other team.
That's true, but it's only in the first half. So it's like, if you're confident in your kicker to get to the points, I don't know if they have that much confidence in their kicker because he starts it out low, could be blocked, and I think they're going to go for a run here, but I think they're going to use Coles as a dummy option or something like that, and maybe try to string the quarterback, Dominic.
Well, think about how
they might switch him out for a quarterback draw.
Think about how the anticipation is so different in a high school and, say, professional level. If we were watching a pro game right now, you would say, oh, this is definitely going to be a field goal.
Oh, yeah, because you know, everyone's so good in the pros. You're not going to get 4 yards running.
But you don't necessarily send your field goal unit out if you're a high school team. I mean, back in the days when you had guys like Mike Greenaway, you did.
Yep,
right?
Exactly. Well, they're going to go. Looks like they're going to go for
it. They're going to line up to go for it, and that means Wildcat and direct snap here to number 3, Daniel Coles.
But look at that left end, man. They need to shore that up. There's a lot of room over there.
All right, here it is. Direct snap to Coles. He's looking for the end zone, and he's going to find it. It's a touchdown for Daniel Coles, his 3rd of the night. It comes from 3 yards out with 1:55 to play here in the second quarter. Brooke Point back on top, Steve.
Well, Mark, again, I called it. I said, look at all that room out there, and we didn't have anybody out there. We had them all tighten up, into the interior, thinking they were going to try to, bulldoze their way in. But when I saw them hand off the Coles in that whole left side, there wasn't a cornerback or defensive end. That was too easy, very easy on that one.
Well, Daniel Coles, who just scored his 3rd touchdown of the game, is the holder for Matthew Moss. And Moss's kick is up, and it clears the crossbar, and it is 20-14 now in favor of Brooke Point. So it is a back-and-forth game. Daniel Coles really, I mean, you got to give credit to Gabe Dombeck with the RPO, but Daniel Coles has really been the difference in this football game for Brooke Point.
Yeah, he's their go-to guy, and we haven't had a chance to give it to Jaden Williams, our guy, to run the football. And what's going on, that's when one of your defensive captains on the defense has got to look at this and look at the formation and say, timeout, because they had that whole left side. Or even our defensive end wasn't even there. Mm-hmm. So it was just too easy. And I saw it from up here. That's what they're going to do, and they did exactly that.
Well, Daniel Coles had 4 touchdowns a week ago against Spotsylvania. Tonight he has 3 against Eastern View as we approach the end of this first half, although we have 1:55 remaining, and we'll get to see the Eastern View offense again and see if, depending upon the return, and certainly they have the capability with a guy like Amari Robinson to return the ball for the Cyclones, Steve. If he gets a good return here, 1:55 is ample time for the Cyclone offense maybe to answer and go into the intermission perhaps tied.
Hey, you're right. You're right.
And the Cyclones will be receiving the 3rd quarter kickoff. All right, Moss's kick. Keep it short. And we have a penalty, a whistle that stops this one.
Well, it's going to be offside against Brooke Point.
All right, well, this broadcast brought to you in part by K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies, now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. K&M, 825-8371. Steve, do you know anything about nominations now being accepted for the local area sports Hall of Fame? Nominate anyone that you feel is deserving and respectful. local sports recognition at localsportshistory.com/HOF. All right. Well, Steve, you're really getting it done. You know?
Yep.
Been really on top of your game tonight. And from an analytical standpoint, we've mentioned Daniel Cole's 3 touchdowns, Brooke Point RPO, Eastern View. Haven't seen a lot of Jaden Williams, as you mentioned, although he did get that first touchdown from 2 yards out. What else? What other takeaways have you made so far?
Well, basically, the quickness of Brooke Point is bothering Eastern View. Eastern View's bigger, stronger up front on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. But Brooke Point, give them credit. They're hustling, they're battling, and their quickness is really, I think, caught Eastern View by surprise. And like I said, the RPO and the quarterback is running it to perfection. And basically, Eastern View doesn't have anyone out there to defend it.
So, and again, you know, if you look at how this game is being played out, it's very entertaining. It may not be where the Cyclones want it to be at this point, but it's anybody's game, obviously. Yep. A lot of football to play, and it's a good one. It's 20-14, very entertaining, and probably as good a game being played as any on the schedule tonight. This ball goes out of bounds, and the Cyclones, I think, will take over at their own 35.
Yeah, but the clock didn't move, so they got 1:55 here. I think it's very important to string together some plays and see if we can get Eastern View down in scoring territory.
Well, they've got A.P. Hall. He scored Eastern View's second touchdown on that 47-yard run when the Cyclones were last seen on offense. And that's a good point to bring up, Steve, because, Brooke Point put together another, long drive.
Mm-hmm. They sure did. Now it looks like now the ball has moved up because of the penalty. I thought it'd be given to 35. I guess not.
I did too.
Yeah,
so
here they go.
Maybe they do agree with us after all.
Yeah, it's going at the 40.
From near midfield, they decide walk it back. Let's see where they're going to put it. Well, they've got it there at the 39.
Well, it looks like they need a GPS. Hey, how many yards? Turn right. Turn left. It's right
in a
here.
quarter mile, turn right.
You need to make a U-turn. Please turn.
Use the 2 right lanes for your next turn. Turn right. All right, Eastern View. Which way will they turn here, Steve?
Hopefully they turn upfield.
All right, they got to go 61 yards to start their own 39. That's Williams in motion. A.P. Hall, the quarterback, going to keep it. No, and not going to go anywhere as they tackle him right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he's a
good
big
job, Brooke Point, Steve. Like number 23, Trey Smith, probably gets the credit for that one.
Yeah, he jumped on and rode him down like a bull.
Yeah, no gain. We'll check the clock, and it's running at 1:29 and counting.
Yeah, I've been sitting there passing this football.
A.P. Hull, empty backfield. Here's Hull throwing, far side, incomplete. Pass was well short, but the intended receiver, Jaden Williams, does stop the clock, brings up 3rd down and 10 from the 39.
See, Jaden Williams, that's not a hold. He didn't make the best pass, but Jaden Williams has got to come to the football. You can't let it wait to sail out to you. I mean, you got to come in and just like you do in basketball, go to the ball. And he would have had ample running room and could have taken it down the sideline.
Instead, the incomplete pass brings up 3rd and 10 for Eastern View at its own 39. They trail 20-14 with 1:18 to play here in this second quarter, facing a big 3rd down and 10.
And see, look at Brooke Point's defense. Everyone's in that middle trying to cover that box.
All right, here's Hull. Throws over the middle. He's got, looks like Will Butler. And Butler fighting for yards. Won't get as much as he would like. He'll be short of the first down by about 4. And let's look to see if Eastern View is taking a timeout.
It was a good throw, good catch, and way to run by Will Butler, but he's going to be about 4 yards short, like you said, Mark. And now, big play here. What do you do?
Yeah, he's got to get to the 50, so let's say 4th and 3. Well, I think they're waving the flag off.
The flag.
All right.
Okay.
There was no penalty on that play.
Right.
I think we've got 4th and 3 for the Cyclones at their own 47.
Yeah, they're going to go for it. Now here's when they might try to pull them off. It's dangerous.
AP Hull, the quarterback. He's got Jaden Williams back there. On 4th down and 3. Let's see if the Cyclones can convert here. They go to Williams. Williams will have it just barely. He had to get to the midfield, Steve. I think he just got there.
Yeah, they'd be getting to 50, and they're moving the chains. Now, Eastern View better be lining up right now, because now the clocks are running again under 40 seconds.
You mentioned we hadn't seen a lot of Jaden Williams. Part of the problem was that Brooke Point's offense has been on the field a lot.
You're right.
Here's Williams again. Tries to get to the outside, won't do it, as the Blackhawks were waiting for him. And Charles Anderson, number 21, tackles him. Let's check the clock. It stopped at 26.6 seconds to play here in the second. And we're going to have a 2nd down and 10 coming up. Or 2nd and 11 after this timeout.
But now what Eastern View's going to do, they're going to have to throw it. They're going to have to look and see if they get a good, formation, exploit a weakness on Brooke Point. They're going to be looking to try to get one-on-one matchups.
I think maybe at the start of the 3rd quarter we may have some scores from around the area to pass on to you if we can.
All right.
We're certainly interested in Culpeper and Liberty, and of course Orange is nearby. They're playing Harrisonburg, and perhaps even we could even get a score on Madison. Who else might be of interest for the local populace, Steve?
Well, you got all the Stafford schools. What's
I think we need to probably find out what King George is doing.
King George has God, I should know who they're playing.
Well, we'll get it sorted out. Here are the Cyclones after the timeout. They look at 2nd and 11 now from their own 49. Here's AP Hull. Here comes the pressure. And he's not going to get away from it. They're going to wrap him up for a loss all the way back to the 35-yard line. That is a loss of 14 yards, and it's going to bring up 3rd down and 25.
And Mark, that's when he's got to learn to look back. I think they're just going to let the clock run out to the half. I would too.
You can see the final few seconds ticking off here on 3rd and 25. Although it looks like AP Hull wants another play, and he's going to get one. All right, here's Hull somewhere. Throwing downfield, incomplete. He's looking for Brett Clatterball.
Right.
And, we really haven't mentioned his name on offense tonight.
No, we haven't.
Well, on that play, incomplete pass, that's how the first half is going to end. These two teams will go to the intermission with Brooke Point on top, 20-14. We'll take a break for our halftime show. Enjoy it and enjoy the intermission. We'll come back for the 3rd quarter kickoff when these two teams are ready for that. In the meantime, you're watching Cyclones football on the Culpeper Media Network.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community supporters.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. CFC Farm and Home Center, supplying your lawn and garden, pet, and farm needs since 1932. Hometown pricing and outstanding service at CFC Farm and Home. Found in Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and over 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. Battlefield Automotive. Nominations are now being accepted for the local area sports Hall of Fame. Nominate anyone that you feel is deserving of historical local sports recognition at localsportshistory.com/HOF. K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies. Now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones. Our high-quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Visit uvahealth.com for more information.
Well, welcome back to our broadcast. We are at Brooke Point High School here in Stafford, where it is. intermission and moments away from starting the third quarter. In a game that's been very entertaining, our current score, Blackhawks 20, Cyclones 14. I'm Mark O'Connell, joined as always by Steve Peacock here in the press box, and Johnny Krawchuk up top behind the camera as always. Nicole Wooten back in the studio. Thank you, Nicole. Well, Steve, we've mentioned it 2 or 3 times. Very entertaining football game, probably one of the best ones being played tonight. 20-14 our score. If you look at both teams, Brooke Point, you got to start with Daniel Coles.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal first half, Mark. He was their focal point on offense, and he showed why. Eastern View in the second half, they're going to get the ball. They're going to figure a way to stop him, and also getting pressure on the quarterback, because a lot of their plays, scoring plays, came on broken plays where the quarterback's gotten loose. They thought they had containment, and they didn't, and he was able to pick up first down or throw for a touchdown. And the other thing, the biggest mistake I see was on that punt. They fake, I don't think it was a fake punt. The ball was low. I think what was happening, it looked like the punter was going to get the punt block. He pulled it down at the last second and then ran for 9 yards and picked up first down. That took a lot of wind out of Eastern View sails right there because they had stopped him on the 3 and out. So they need to figure out how to do that in the second half. I think they got to tighten up on defense. Offense, I'm not too worried about. They can move the ball against Brooke Point. And they got to rely on their linemen, both D-line and O-line, because they are bigger than Brooke Point. And basically, I want to see what adjustments the coaching staff made with Eastern View on defense and offense, and see if they can get back into the lead and close this game out and come out with a win.
Well, we always expect Brett Clatterball to have a great game, and he probably has had a good game, but he hasn't been a dominant force. Is that because Brooke Point has sort of taken him out of it? Have they been running at him?
Well, defensively, they've been running at him and make him try to make plays. On the other thing, when it's a definite pass, they're sticking two guys on him. He's got to learn that, hey, I am going to be the focal point of opposing teams. And I think he's doing okay offensively, but he needs to step it up on defense.
Oh.
I'm not playing.
Well, we were just momentarily distracted there. Right now, you're looking at the Cyclones sidelines, and we expect the Cyclones to. Okay. We had a couple of guys locked out, and we were Johnny on the spot.
Yeah.
Let them back in the press box, Steve.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we're talking about the game. I think we had some updated scores to pass along the way with you here. I know Orange is playing Harrisonburg. Let's see if we can check that one. At the half, it was Orange 24, Harrisonburg 0. Dave Richardson was sending us some scores on the Liberty Culpeper game, and the most recent one at the half, it's Liberty 44, Culpeper 7. And I believe Madison on top, 27-14 over its biggest rival, William Monroe of Greene County.
That's a good big matchup.
Yeah. Well, so Brooke Point will be kicking off to Eastern View to start the third quarter. If you're just tuning in, we had a really entertaining first half, and Brooke Point's Daniel Coles has all 3 of his team's touchdowns. And Eastern View has a touchdown by both Jaden Williams on a 2-yard run, and quarterback A.P. Hall went on a 47-yard jaunt for Eastern View. Our score 20-14 as we start what we expect to be an equally exciting second half. Here's Moss's kick. He keeps it on the ground. This is going to be picked up at the 25-yard line by Amari Robinson. Robinson gets out across the 40, out to about the 42. Well, Steve, if you're going on offense, you don't mind starting when you have field position at the 42-yard line.
No, and see, I agree. Great. They've got good starting position. And, Mark, the other thing is, too, Brooke Point on defense is also eyeing and really watching Jaden Williams out there, and he's marked. I'd like to see maybe give it to Robinson or another running back and change it up and see if they can get sort of a running game going. they just didn't have much continuity on offense in the first half.
Yeah, a little bit better spot than I thought. They're going to actually set it at the 43 of Eastern View. AP Hall is your quarterback. Cyclones trail by 6 as we start the third. This is Clatterball in motion. He gets the handoff and powers his way to the 45. Pickup of 2. 2nd and 8 coming up. Well, we mentioned that when that second quarter ended, it ended on an incomplete pass intended for Brett Clatterball. And here on first down in the third, they go with Clatterball. Maybe they're thinking that they need to get him in the offensive mix, and that might make a difference for Eastern View.
Well, Mark, he's the most talented player. You got to have him touch the ball. He's one of the best athletes, and he was pretty much shut out in the first half.
And they send him out wide here, and now they come back and they connect with Clatterball at the 45, breaks the tackle. Now he goes to the 30, 20, 10, headed to the end zone is Brett Clatterball from 55 yards.
Fear the win. Brett Clatterball on a reception that goes 55 yards down the left sideline for a touchdown.
Steve, that's got to be worth another look.
It sure does. Watch what's happening here. He lines up as a wide receiver, and he goes out and just comes back to the ball. It was like a flanker screen, and he was able to pick up a couple blocks and then just outrace everybody to the end zone. Good play, good performance there by Brett Clatterball.
I think it indicates what Coach Lowry and his staff told his teammates or the adjustments they made at half is we're going to get Brett Clatterball into the swing of things on offense. We're going to get him the football, and on 2 plays. The first one was for a 2-yard run, and then, like you said, they set him out as a wide receiver. He ran about, 2 or 3 yards, stopped. They got him a short pass, and then they said, okay, we get you the ball in space. This point after is blocked, and we're going to stay tied at 20 all. But we're going to get Clatterball in space and let him go to work, and they did. So 20-20, that's your vision and our score.
And I don't like the point after attempt. There was confusion on there, and then, Brooke Point was, they're going to try to block it. I would have tried to go in for 2 down there.
I don't know if the point after is going to be a big deal when this game is all decided. I think the biggest thing right now is that Eastern View has sent the message to Brooke Point, you're going to have to deal with Clatterball here.
Yep, and that was a good call. I said you got to get the ball in your best athlete's hands and let him make a play, and Brett just did that. He made a play, and that was all Clatterball after he got through to that second level, and then he was just gone, and he outraced everybody down there to the end zone.
He certainly did. Well, this broadcast brought to you by Found & Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. That's Found & Sons at 825-3530. All right, Braden Capolini set to kick this one off. We've got a tied ball game, 20 all. Opening minute here of this third quarter. I mean, what a way to start for the Cyclones.
Yeah, it was they answered and they came back. Now they got to tighten up on defense. They've got to not let Brooke Point get off a big play.
And it'll be interesting to see what, if any, adjustments that the Eastern View coaching staff make defensively, knowing that the run-pass option has been a key for Brooke Point. They knew it would be that way coming in. And this is Daniel Coles on the return from about the 5. He gets out to about the 35. Well, actually about the 33. So a 28-yard return by Daniel. I'll make that my mistake. That was, it was Daniel Coles.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So pretty good field position for the Blackhawks as they send Gabe Dombeck and Daniel Coles and company back onto the field, and actually for the first time here in this early third quarter.
Mark, and I was thinking about getting a little nostalgia on you. I still remember, looking down that right corner, Joel Pearson stopping Daniel Davis in order for Culpeper to win that first round playoff game in 1998, I believe.
Sounds about right, and we were voiceless when that was over. That was one of the most exciting games that I've ever seen, really at any level.
I agree.
What was it, triple overtime?
Yep.
Yeah. Daniel Davis went on to UNC, and now you've got a Daniel Coles doing a lot of damage here for Brooke Point. Bombeck going to throw this one incomplete. Excellent coverage out there as Eastern View's number 16, Grayson Quinn, in good position there to break this one up.
It sure was. It was good defense there by Eastern View. They also got good pressure up front too against against the quarterback Dominic. You just got to keep that pressure on. And the cornerbacks for Eastern View, the D-back right there made a great play in the ball.
All right, 2nd and 10 now. Blackhawks from the 33-yard line. 10:44 to play, third quarter action. You look at the score, it's 20 all. All right, Dombeck going to throw, and this one going to be well defended by Brett Clatterball, and the intended receiver was Daniel Coles. So we mentioned Clatterball on offense, and you said you're going to have to pick it up on defense as well, and so now he's making his presence known.
He is. He's got to be disruptive. I mean, he's that type of player, and he can do it, and that's what he's got to do here in this second half, and he did a good play right there. Now brings up 3rd and long.
3rd and 10 from the 33 for Brooke Point. Quarterback is Gabe Dombeck. They're really their primary ball carrier. Daniel Coles has been the go-to guy. This time he's in motion. Here's Dombeck. Protection holds up. This one almost intercepted. Making a diving catch for it, or attempted catch, was Braden Hubert. And that'll bring up a 4th down and the Brooke Point punting team.
Yep, that was a good play. I thought he had it, but he just, when he made contact with the ground, it came out. So now forced the punting unit on for Brooke Point. Now here with Eastern View, you're probably going to try to set up a punt return here.
Marquise Thornley is the punter. He had that fake punt that converted a 1st down in the first half. Doesn't do it this time, and this will not take a Brooke Point roll. In fact, it's going to be down at the Eastern View 42. So it's almost identical field position to what the Cyclones had on their first possession in the 3rd quarter. In the previous possession, they started on their own 43-yard line. And then 2 plays later, Brett Clatterball went 55 yards on the catch for touchdown. And now Eastern View goes back on offense at its own 42. So nearly identical field position and 20-20 ball game.
See what Eastern View can do here.
Let's see where Clatterball lines up. Right now he's in that sort of H-back position there with Jaden Williams in motion. AP Hall going to run this one. Hull, right side, lowers his shoulder, bulls his way forward, past the 45, out to about the 48. Depending on the spot, that's a 5 or 6 yard pickup for the quarterback, AP Hull.
Mark, the problem I have with the Hull, he's a good, strong runner, but now they're gang tackling, and you got to make sure ball security is your utmost number one task right at hand. And you run into scrums like that, you got everyone pushing and pulling, and somebody's just got to go down.
All right, here's AP Hull now on 2nd and 4. That's Jaden Williams behind him. Hull looking for Will Butler, got him, and then Hull drags the tackler a couple of yards. There's a 1st down catch for Will Butler.
And Mark, you can see the strength of Hull's arm right there. And he's only a sophomore. He just zipped that thing right out of there, and he only did like a 2-step drop.
Yeah, I've been impressed too with receiver Will Butler, haven't you?
Yeah, me too. He's really hung in there. Gets good yards after the catch.
15-yard pass play from Hull to Will Butler. Cyclones have it 1st and 10 at the Blackhawk 43. All right, here's Hull rolling right. Going to have to get rid of it. Throws it up and out of bounds. Good job. He was being pressured.
Yeah, well, the drop, that bad snap disrupted the whole timing, and that's what I'm talking about. You got to get with your center right there and say, hey, look, guys, we can't have these low snaps or on the ground. We've got to have, in order for our offense and the timing to be right, we got to have that good snap. It starts with a good snap.
Really does. So 2nd and 10 now coming up for the Cyclones. We're at the Blackhawk 43, 3rd quarter action, 20-20 our score. AP Hull turns direction, Gets away from one defender. Here comes the pressure. He's going to have to get rid of it. He won't. They're going to sack him at about the 46-yard line for a 3-yard loss. Going to bring up about 3rd and 7. Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Battlefield, Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and 22 acres of hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. That's Battlefield.
Hey, Mark, he's trying to run that naked bootleg, but Brooke Point's been on it from the first half, and now they know when he does it, they send that defensive end, and he disrupted the whole thing.
Well, they've got to get to the 33 for a first down. Jaden Williams straight ahead.
Jaden Williams carrying the ball for the Cyclones.
Inside the 45. Looks like he's going to beat the 43. Short pickup.
I know. I question that call. Why would you run up the middle like that when you had to get 10 yards?
Well, it's going to bring on the Cyclone punting team. That just means AP Hull, the quarterback, will drop back to punt.
Now, here, would you try a fake punt if you're Eastern View? Throw it to they look like they got him covered. They're covering him up.
Well, I mean, when your punter is the quarterback, you always have that option, don't you?
Yeah.
On 4th down.
Back to Ross, number 18,
and long.
Hubbard.
AP Hull set to punt this one away, and he does. Let's check the bounce here. This is a good kick by Hull because he kept it not only inside the 20-yard line, but they're actually down it at the 10. So good placement on the kick by AP Hull.
Mark, another, I always said tight ends are underutilized weapons in high school football. Another underutilized weapon is if you have a good punter. Eastern View's got a good punter. A good punter can win you football games, but especially on field position.
Right, exactly. And so they accomplished that by pinning Brooke Point down at its 10-yard line. Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473. All right. Brooke Point back on offense, but they're going to start deep in their own territory at their own 10-yard line for Gabe Dombeck and company. Daniel Coles alongside him. And they give the ball to, they fake it to Coles and they throw it incomplete. The intended receiver, Jacob Dalton. Had a couple of big catches in that first half for the Blackhawks. Pretty good deception, I think, by Dombeck and company on the RPOs, Steve.
It was good. I think, Eastern View's really changed their defense and really now I think they figured it out a little bit. But again, it still scares me when they do trips or doubles out here to the side. We have no safety help. If they get in that secondary, it's tough.
Dombeck this time does hand off to Coles. They wrap him up and won't let him go. And he had 2 or 3 Cyclones into the tackle. One of those players is number 45, Branson James.
And he's going off. Number 8's coming back in.
And also wanted to mention that was only a 2-yard gain. So it's going to be 3rd and 8 here for Brooke Point.
Yeah, but like I said, just keep everybody in front of you and try to find that football.
Dombeck, play action, going to throw it. He's got a receiver, and it was thrown just behind him, but it looked like it was a catchable ball. That had been caught at the 25-yard line, and that would have been enough for a first down. But A.J. Guzman unable to haul it in for the Blackhawks, and they'll have to punt.
Well, Mark, he had also good pressure against him. Eastern View put good pressure on that quarterback, and he kind of had to really try to wing it out there quick, and that's what caused him to throw it behind. Big, good defense stance right there by Eastern View.
Well, the punter is Marquise Thornley, and he's going to punt this one away about 3 yards deep into his own end zone. And barring a miscue, Eastern View should be guaranteed excellent field position off the return here to set up their offensive teammates. High snap. Here's the kick. This one's short, and it's going to be down at the Brooke Point 43. So outstanding field position once more for Eastern View, Steve.
Yep, and again, now see if they can capitalize on it. They didn't capitalize on it last series, but now they're going to do it here and put together some drives. You know, in other words, put some drives together and quit trying to go for the big home run hit.
All right, they're getting ready to set this one. This broadcast brought to you by UVA Health. Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones at our quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Learn more at uvahealth.com. AP Hull handing off. Jaden Williams comes to the outside, makes a cut. Gets inside that 40 down to about the 38, it looks like. Pickup of 5 yards on first down. 2nd and 5 coming up.
Mark, that was a good carry, good run by Williams. And they got to keep doing that. 5 yards on first down and set you up 2nd and 5. You want to get in those short yardage situations and sustain drives and see if we can capitalize, especially with our offensive line. We're so much bigger up front than they are.
Okay, 2nd and 5 here. Here's Hull on the rollout, going to keep it all the way. Lowering his shoulder, gets down to about the 30. That'll be enough for a Cyclone first down.
I like Hull when he runs, but when he starts lowering that shoulder and trying to take big hits on, I know he's a big kid, but he is your quarterback. You want to protect. You don't want him to come in here with a shoulder separation, especially that throwing hand arm. So he needs to, like I said, it's a good play call, liked it. But you don't want to keep doing that to him, you know, all the time because, like I said, he is your quarterback. You need him back there.
All right, well, Hull in the gun. He's got Jaden Williams behind him. Platter ball, the H-back there. Here comes the pressure. Hull gets away from it. He's going to keep it, lower that shoulder once more, as you said, and it's going to pick up 2 or 3 tough yards.
Yeah, it's going to be – he was again, they got pressure on Hull, and, again, the – offensive line has got to understand that those are very quick guys up front. And I noticed they've cut their splits down some, but they might need to really almost stand together.
All that actually, and he only netted a yard. A lot of scrimmage was 29. He gets 1 to the 28. That makes it 2nd and 9 there. But Cyclones trying to take advantage of a great starting field position off that punt. Here's a throw near side. Got the receiver, and I believe that is number 6. Let's check it. Is it Jaheim Fry? Yeah, yep. Jaheim Fry. Got a whistle. We got stoppage. Let's see what the call here is.
On the tackle for the Blackhawks, number 22.
Official timeout. Big third down here, Mark.
And it looks like there's a player on the Eastern View sideline down. Can't tell who that is.
Is that an Eastern View player? Yeah.
Eastern View, yeah.
I can't say who it is.
All right. Well, as they're attending to him, we'll tell you this broadcast brought to you in part by CFC Farm and Home Center. The service, knowledge, and products you need for your farm, home, pets, livestock, and equine since 1932. That's CFC Farm and Home Center. Also, K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies, now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. 825-8371.
The injured player for Eastern View is number 65, Grayson Yates.
Well, the public address announcer, Rick Butler of Brooke Point, who's been here a long time, and has indicated that the injured Eastern View player is number 65, Grayson Yates.
And
looks like we're back in action here.
Trying to see who replaced him on the line.
Is it, nope, 55 was a starter. Let's see if we can pick that up here in a moment. Handoff, Jaheim Fry. He got inside the 25.
Yep.
Spun down near the 23.
See, that's what you got to do. Start mixing up the runners because Brooke Point knows about Jaden Williams. They know about Hull and they know about Clatterball.
Steve, I'm going to say that the replacement is likely number 52, Carlos Diaz. He's in there because Antonio Heredia, 64, Brandon Weaver, 69 were starters. Could be wrong, but I know we haven't called his name. Carlos Diaz until just now. Now, AP Hall is looking at 3rd and 4.
Or 4, no, it's 4th down, Mark.
Is it 4th?
Yep,
Okay.
4th and 5.
AP Hall's going to throw. This one's going to be caught. Will Butler spins away from the defender and gets down to about the 1-yard line. Call it the 2.
That was a wrestling match. You sure he's not a wrestler? He just took that away from the – looked like it was going to be intercepted by Brooke Point, but let's go to replay right here. Butler just takes this little short out pass, wrestles away from Brooke Point defender, and races on down the sideline where he got knocked out of bounds right inside the 1.
Well, weren't we just talking a few minutes ago about how impressed we were with Will Butler? Didn't he come through there on 4th and long and came through in the clutch for him? They got a 1st and goal here as AP Hall tried to get it in from 2 yards out. He's going to be close, right just shy of the goal line there.
See, again, we're going to line. Again, I wish that we could line up under center on those. I know coaches like the shotgun, but there's right there. You line right up under center and just push.
Gets a little momentum, though, from 3 yards back. Here he goes here. Here's Hall. He's in from 1 yard out. Steve, that's his 2nd touchdown of the night.
Fear the win. Cyclone touchdown. Hull in from 1 yard out.
26-20 our score in favor of the Cyclones with 2:18 to play here in the 3rd. Well, our score at the half was 20-14 in favor of Brooke Point, and so the Cyclones 2 unanswered touchdowns. This one's going to be kicked, no good.
Well, they're going to it's going to be.
Was there a penalty?
I think so.
All right. This one looked like this was just going to be botched. Well, remember at the half it was what, 20-14?
Yep.
And now it's 26-20. That means Eastern View's outscored Brooke Point 12-0 here in the 3rd.
Yeah, but it was offsides on Brooke Point on the try, so now Eastern View gets a chance. But now it's marked halfway inside. Do you go for 2?
Well,
if you
get the 2-point conversion, it's an 8-point game.
Yep.
But if you go for it and don't get it, then a touchdown and a point after gives Brooke Point the lead. So it's a little strategy here.
Well, it's in the 3rd quarter, 2:18. Yeah, they look like they're going to go for it because of where the ball's going to be placed.
Well, looks like not. But AP Hall's going to be the holder here for Braden Cappellini. We got a guy coming over trying to get close to Cappellini, and they're not going to allow that to happen, are they?
Nope. Now they're going to move it a little closer.
Now are you thinking about it more?
That's where you would line up under center, Mark, and just keep AP Hall's big
give
as
him
he
the
is.
old Greg Landry.
Yeah. Oh, the joy lines.
Quarterback sneak.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, you go up 8, now you really put pressure on Brooke Point because their field goal with the kicker, their point is not very good. Well, they're still lining up on it.
Well, they get the point after. It's a 7-point game. If you don't get the 2-pointer, then you put yourself in a disadvantage, that's for sure. All right, Cappellini's kick is good. 27-20 our score, 2:18 to play. 3rd quarter action. Again, Brooke Point led 20-14 at the half, but Eastern View has scored 13 unanswered points here in the 3rd quarter, which may prove to be decisive. We'll find out. Well, we've mentioned that we are live, and our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556.
This will be very interesting here now. Eastern View has got really locked down on defense.
Braden Cappellini tees it up at the 40. So what about Brooke Point, Steve? Are they feeling a little stunned at this point, you think? Maybe
stunned. I think tired because we got a lot of kids going 2 ways, so that could be it. But they're still in this game. One big play, and they're right back in it. So Eastern View now, this is where you got to have the mentality. Now you want to close out this game. It's 2:18 to go in the 3rd quarter. You're up by 7.
Well, Brooke, is it fair to say Eastern View's had a better showing defensively here in the 3rd?
Yes.
They made some adjustments, perhaps. Ball kicked into the end zone for the automatic touchback, and Brooke Point will start on offense for end zone 20.
The Blackhawks will take over on the 20-yard line. First down, Brooke
We'll
Point.
see now, Eastern View, your defensive corner is telling them, to the kids on defense, keep everything in front of you. Don't let those wide receivers foul the football. Don't let those wide receivers on the RPO get behind you.
Dave Richardson providing us with some scores, as well as my friend Eddie Daniel down in Orange. But Dave says Liberty 51, Culpeper 7. That game is really getting away from.
Yeah, I'm sure it's running clock too now.
Madison up 40-14 in the fourth. Daniel Coles, the ball carrier for Brooke Point, picked up a couple. Brett Clatterball and several other players, including Branson James in the tackle. Number 55 is Jaquan White. He's had a good game. Number 51 in there, Steve, is Dominic Simmendinger.
Yep. Now they found it brings up about a 2nd and 7 mark, and now you want to see the defense just be aggressive and just make good tackles.
And one of the guys who's been near the ball this season on defense has been Keegan Brown for Eastern View. Coles. No, this is a different running back here. This is number 34. Made me think of Walter Payton there for a moment. Z. Wills.
Yeah,
Z. Willis, the ball carrier, rather.
Yeah, he kind of used his little speed right there and was able to get in and get through to the second level.
So, new set of downs for Brooke Point. They have it 1st and 10 now at their own 39. Late here in the third quarter, Blackhawks trail by 7. 27-20 our score. We mentioned it was 2014, Brooke Point the half. And Eastern View has outscored them 13-0 the third, but Brooke Point has showed us what they can do on offense, and they are something to contend with. They go back to the run, and they go back again to Z. Willis.
Yeah, they're trying to do a little change of pace because Coles is being the workhorse, but here, Mark, I've been also reminding this game's had very few, I don't think it's had any turnovers. There hasn't been fumble or interception.
Well, that is true.
I mean, so it's been, which team is going to commit one is going to, will probably lose this game.
How do you think the penalty department has stacked up tonight?
I think it's pretty fair.
Yeah. All right, 2nd and 7 from the 42. Back to Willis they go. Willis straight ahead. Determined run and a push with his lineman. He's still going. He's in Eastern View territory. They're going to finally mark him down inside the 45-yard line. Another first down for the Blackhawks. So Brooke Point looking to answer.
Yeah, well, they're mixing up with that Williams, that kid. He's in there. He's quick. But, Mark, here's some only criticism on defense there. They're all trying to strip the ball instead of trying to tackle. You want to bring them down. You don't want to keep them running. Usually they'll pick up first down yardage because y'all kept, we kept trying to go at the ball and rip the ball out.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community supporters.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. CFC Farm and Home Center, supplying your lawn and garden, pet, and farm needs since 1932. Hometown pricing and outstanding service at CFC Farm and Home. Found in Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and over 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. Battlefield Automotive. Nominations are now being accepted for the local area sports Hall of Fame. Nominate anyone that you feel is deserving of historical local sports recognition at localsportshistory.com/HOF. K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies. Now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones. Our high-quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Visit uvahealth.com for more information.
All So into the third, we're in the fourth, and we're going to switch directions, these two teams. Brooke Point will be moving from right to left, and Eastern View the opposite, left to right. But Brooke Point on offense looking to perhaps score their first points of this second half.
Yeah, but again, defensively, they got to be able to. They're trying to mix that up. They got 34 in there again. He's in there.
Willis
is providing them a spark, and they swing Coles out wide.
As we start the fourth quarter, Brooke Point's Willis, again the ball carrier. He bounces to the outside, got inside the Eastern View 35, down to about the 32. Steve, that's 12 yards and another first down. So interesting strategy, as you pointed out. Daniel Coles getting a rest of sorts, and spelling his name and number is number 34, Z. Willis, doing a good job for Brooke Point's running game.
Well, he's elusive, and he was able to bring down, Eastern View haven't seen him at all the first half, so now they got to be wary. This kid's got quick feet and can move.
First and 10 Blackhawks at the Cyclone 32. That's Coles in motion. Don Beck going to hand off again to Willis. This time they're going to tackle him after a short pickup of 2 yards right at the 30. And just mentioning a moment ago the play of Eastern View's Keegan Brown in on the tackle for Eastern View.
Now see if they can hold him out here.
2-yard pickup, 2nd and 8 coming up. Blackhawks at the Cyclone 30. You're looking at the score and the time. Clock 10:45 and running. Back to Willis they go, straight ahead. Looking for some running room, won't find much there. They'll mark it at the 28. It's a 2-yard pickup. It's going to bring up 3rd and 6.
Now they got to watch out for Coles here because they've been trying on Willis, and all he needs is a little crease. But now they might go to Cole here on a little pass play. Each of you's got to be ready.
Also watch out for A.J. Guzman there, number 1. He's in the he's wide left. 2 receivers top of your screen to the right. Willis back there behind Dombeck, the quarterback. He's going to throw on the slant. Got a receiver. It's Dalton inside the 20-yard line, and a first down for Brooke Point. I believe that's Dalton's 4th catch of the night.
Mark, that was a good throw, and it was defended well by Eastern View. Just got the quarterback, give him credit. He rifled a bullet right in there.
Sure did.
The receiver held on. But it was well defended. You couldn't do any better than what Eastern View was on that play. But now you got a first set of downs. The defense has got to come up big here.
1st and 10 Blackhawks at the Cyclone 19. Back to Willis they go, looking for some running room behind those linemen. And he was sort of hiding until he found a little bit of running room, and he did. And he picked up positive yardage all the way down to about the 10. That's a 9-yard pickup.
And what Eastern View's got to realize in the red zone, when the teams are in the red zone, looks like a timeout.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, during this timeout,
Well, after the timeout, it should be 2nd and 2 for the Blackhawks at the Cyclone 11. We mentioned that our timeout sponsor is UVA Community Credit Union, strengthening the financial wellness of our members and the Culpeper community. That's UVAcreditunion.org. And, of course, we mentioned we're live, and our live sponsor is Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. Able Heating and Air, 718-7556. All right. Well, let's see if we've got any other scores to update you on. Shenandoah 31, Fauquier 6 in the 3rd.
That's that new school over there.
I was going to say, I'm not familiar with that one. At the half, Wilson Memorial 21 over Western Albemarle, 21-20.
Where's Louisa? I think they're playing.
Louisa's got a bye week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think they were most recently in action, lost to Massaponax, didn't they? Here's
Yep.
Willis. Here's Willis still running down close to the goal line. If he's not in, it's going to be awfully close.
See, that's, what's happening right now at Eastern View. They got a new back that's in there, Willis, and he's giving Eastern View fits because he's small and quick and fits through those little gaps.
Yeah. Sort of like a jitterbug in there, Steve.
Yep.
Gets behind those linemen, he's fast, and when there's a little bit of a crease,
he takes off.
And he's still in the game. He's getting the quality running time with Daniel Coles taking a break from it. Back to Willis they go. He's into the end zone. 1 yard out. Touchdown, Brooke Point. And it's a 1-point game once again. 27-26. Eastern View a 1-point lead, but Brooke Point a point away from tying this ball game again.
Now let's see if Eastern View can get in on this kicker. He's not been very good.
Well, Daniel Coles didn't carry the brunt of the running load in this series. His teammate Z. Willis did, but he's the holder for Matthew Moss, and Moss's kick is up and good, and we're tied once more, 27 apiece, with 8:50 to play here in the fourth.
Now,
great football game.
Now can Eastern View put together a long drive and gobble up clock and go for the win?
Well, you know they have that capability, don't you, Stephen?
Yes, they do. They do.
They really do.
But I wasn't happy with that defensive effort by Eastern View in that series. I guess you say a dose of Willis, and they couldn't stop them.
Yep.
They had that one pass play that they couldn't stop. They didn't. It was well defended, but give them credit.
And that was Jacob Dalton,
Yep.
who hauled in the big catch for Brooke Point, and I think his 4th catch of the night. Well, this broadcast brought to you in part by Found & Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. Found & Sons, 825-3530. Also, Battlefield, Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. That's Battlefield. And now Matthew Moss will kick off the Eastern View Cyclones in a whale of a football game. We're tied 27 apiece here. Keeps this one on the ground, going to go out of bounds, and I believe the Cyclones will have it at their own 35. Well, we saw when the third quarter started, Steve, that the obvious strategy for Eastern View is you're going to get the ball to the hands of Brett Clatterball.
Yep, you got to get it to your best athlete on the team and make him make plays, and that's what they did. Now, what they're going to do here is they're going to have to, they're going to have to really get good blocking up front, protect Hall, and look, you're not going to have to go for the big home run right away. Mm-hmm. Methodically move down the field, make Brooke Point work. And that way you can try to exploit matchups.
Well, you're exactly right. There's no reason to hurry. Think about you've got decent field position. You know how your offense is played here in the second half, and you've got plenty of time ahead of you.
Yep. They're still trying to figure, they marked it up to the 40 on that penalty, out 35.
Even better field position for the Cyclones.
Yep.
Again, we're tied up 27-27. Eastern View back on offense. Excellent field position from the 40 for A.P. Hall and his teammate. Slow snap, picks it up, hands it off, and the ball carrier immediately tackled in the backfield for a loss of about 3 yards, and that was Jaden Williams. Steve, he had nowhere to go.
Well, it was a bad snap. And who's the center for Eastern View? I mean, he's got to learn. You got to get that ball back there, and it's hitting his butt. Every time he's trying to snap it back there to Hall, the ball is hitting the center's butt and is going down to the ground. And that messed up the whole timing.
Lost 3 yards on the
52.
On first down. All right, so 52. Eastern View is Carlos Diaz. Here's the snap. A.P. Hall going to air it out. Going to go downfield. Looking for, looks like Will Butler. And unable to come up with it.
He had it, though. It was a good throw.
It was a good throw. I thought it was pretty good coverage out there by Brooke Point's Javier Hubbard.
Yeah, but I thought Butler could have had a chance. He just out of his reach.
So now it brings up on the incomplete pass, 3rd and 13 now.
See how bad the mistake on the first down is now put Eastern View in, and that makes it kind of tough to come back on a team if you're committing mistakes like that, so now you got to figure you got to get 10 yards.
Right tackle Samet Abed, number 78, in the game. They throw. They get the ball to Clatterball. Breaks the tackle. Breaking another tackle. Still, and trying to break a third. Unable to do so, but he got down to the Eastern View 40-yard line, a pickup of 23 yards and a first down for Eastern View, Steve.
Yeah, and Brett comes off the field. Looks like he's got a cramp. But that's how you get you get the ball to your best athlete, and there's the way he did. He made a play.
Well, if someone were to say, look, I've seen Brett play on defense. He's quite the player. Is it really all that on offense? You see a play like that, and you say, yeah, that ought to cinch it for you. He broke nearly 3 tackles to pick up 23 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real deal, isn't it?
Yep, sure is. I mean, they need to get him back in there, but he's still being tended to on the sidelines. Yeah, he crawled off. I knew he was tightening up with the cramp. Get some water in you and get hydrated and get on out there. Now brings up second.
2nd and 9 from the 39 for the Cyclones. Following that 23-yard pickup by Brett Clatterball on a new set of downs, AP Hull and his teammates have 2nd and 9. He's going to throw. And he's got Will Butler for a first down. Butler caught it at the 29 and picked up 5 yards after the catch. Well, Butler's played well tonight for Eastern View, Steve.
He sure has, Mark. He's really surprised me. He's probably coming on for some scouts, too. He's 6'2", 6'3", big receiver. You know, King George's got big receivers. And this kid's kind of flying under the radar, but he's doing very well. I like how he plays.
12 yards on the catch. 1st and 10 Cyclones at the Blackhawks 27. Hull going to keep this one. Going to try to get to the outside. Does. Makes a cut. And then down along the far sidelines, and he goes out of bounds at the 2-yard line. See, that's a 25-yard pickup.
Yep, again, that's a good run by Hull right there because he was able to pick it up. Good players step up when they need to. With Clatterball on the side, on the side with cramps, that's what happened. AP Hull, he looked like he might have a little bit of cramping issues too.
Actually got down to the 1. And now on 1st and goal from the 1. 4 chances to punch it in. You got to like the Cyclones' odds here. AP Hull back there. He hands it off. I believe it's Jaden Williams. Not really quite sure he got in. No, he's right at the line of scrimmage.
Right at the line of scrimmage. But you know what? I'll let the clock run down here a little bit. You got 3 other chances to get one yard, and you want that clock to run, but it looks like the officials have stopped it. There goes my end.
Well, you're right. You want to use the clock to your advantage. That's right. Like you said, you've got 3 chances to punch it in from the 1. You don't have to be in a big hurry about it, do you?
No, but there's a flag on the play. Let's see what the call is here. Had to be coming late.
As they sort this one out, we'll tell you this broadcast brought to you in part by Cash Imprints. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. 317-1473. Also, UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones at our quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Learn more at uvahealth.com.
It was against Brooke Point. Half the distance.
And
how do you make half a distance, half an inch?
Well, I think the ball was at the 1, so you'd be, at the
0.5?
Yeah.
Let me get my GPS out here. Just my tape measure.
The yard is 3 feet, so 1.5 feet?
Yeah. All you got to do is see, then I would line up tight. It's too much chance for
Hull, Williams. Forward, not quite there. Now he might be on the second effort, waiting for the call.
Yes.
Then he say he's in from 1 yard. It is no. So you got the number?
Yeah, it was Jaden.
Wait a minute. Are you sure? Looks like a 1 yard touchdown run. I couldn't pick up the numbers, Steve. It looked like number 2, Jaden Williams.
Yep. Well, I was going to say, fear the wind. Cyclone touchdown from 2 yards out. Or half a yard out, excuse me. Jaden Williams.
You sure it was Williams? It was just so hard to see.
I know.
Yeah. Point after. Capolini, important kick.
Good.
Clears the crossbar. All right. So, 33-27.
We should be
Let's
34.
see. There should be 34-27.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're going to change here in a minute.
34-27, 7-point lead by Eastern View. Well, like we said, great game being played here tonight between two very good football
Now
teams.
you want your defense, you want Clatterbaugh and company to step up. You got to really stop them here. Get them on a 4 and out, or 3 and out if you get them deep in their own territory.
All right, this broadcast brought to you by CFC Farm and Home Center, the service, knowledge, and products you need for your farm, home, pets, livestock, and equine. Since 1932, that's CFC Farm and Home Center. All right, we're down to 5:24 to play in the fourth. Still anyone's game. Right now, advantage Eastern View, up by 7.
Like I said, they've been, I knew Brooke Point, even though they're not expected to finish very high in the Commonwealth. Of course, Commonwealth is loaded with teams, Forge, Massaponax, Mountain View, North Stafford, and Brooke Point are kind of having down years. So,
North Stafford and Massaponax, you said?
no, North Stafford and, no, not Massaponax, North Stafford and Stafford. Well, Stafford's undefeated. They've won their first 2 games.
Well, what's been the strength of their competition, then?
Yep. Well, they got a forfeit against James Monroe, but
Right. They gave up the forfeit, didn't they?
Yep, and they beat somebody that surprised me.
Daniel Coles on the return from about the 3 to the 32. 29-yard kickoff return for Coles. And a penalty flag comes in at the end of this one.
Yeah, it's going to be roughing against it's going to be unsportsmanlike on Brooke Point. They're trying to take number 10, or number 13 rather, from Eastern View all the way over to the sideline, see what the officials call it, because I didn't see Eastern View player initiating any of this. It had to be the way they were blocking the kid on the sideline. It's going to be should be unsportsmanlike Brooke Point. Let's see what the call is.
Well, you mentioned number 13.
Yep.
Of,
They're saying against Eastern View.
Yeah.
That's a biggie.
Well, they'll mark it off,
They're going to call
albeit ever slowly.
personal foul, but I didn't see that. I thought it was Brooke Point.
You thought that Brooke Point was the guilty party, didn't you, Stephen?
Yes, I did.
You thought that Brooke Point was pushing Camden Roy out of
Yep.
bounds.
They were, and he was engaged.
Well, they saw something else, didn't they?
You saw something else, or somebody said something.
Well, and as a result of that, Brooke Point on offense from its own 45. Here's Willis again. This time he runs into Keegan Brown and company, and they drop him for a loss. We've talked about Keegan Brown playing well for these Cyclones. He's got some help out there as well, no doubt. I mean, it's obviously a team effort, but Keegan Brown has had his moments.
And Willis getting a little bit shaken up. He was wrapped up pretty good on that one.
Well, he lost 2 yards, brings up 2nd and 13, and clock running 4:45 to play in the fourth, and it's 34-27 Cyclones, up by 7. Here's Dombeck, going to throw. Got a man out there in the flat. It is Dalton, the receiver. Jacob Dalton, I like his 5th catch of the night. He's been a reliable target, Steve.
I know. They ought to be able to find him and put press coverage on him instead of giving him that 8 to 10-yard cushion. And the quarterback's job is to pitch and catch.
14-yard pass play. Dombeck to number 11, Jacob Dalton. Again, his 5th catch of the night. And first down for Brooke Point. We're on the Eastern View side of midfield now at the Cyclone 44. New set of downs for Gabe Dombeck, the junior quarterback. That's Willis in motion. Now he resets as the running back next to Dombeck. Dombeck's throw incomplete, short, intended for Daniel Coles. Well, we haven't mentioned Daniel Coles' name much in this second half, Steve.
No, we haven't, because Willis is running so well. But again, that was a poor pass. If he'd been on time, Coles had a lot of running room, and I'm just watching Eastern View, why aren't they putting a man out here on him when he lines out that far? And that's, again, you're just inviting him to, where is the coverage? See, now, look, Eastern View's not even.
Slow to set.
Yep.
All right, 2nd and 10 now from the 44. Coles is back in there. They hand the ball to him, and he bounces around, makes a couple jukes, picks up good yardage, got inside the 35, down to the 33, pick up of 11 yards, it looks like, and another Brooke Point first down.
A lot of missed tackles, trying to arm tackle him. And again, Eastern View talking to themselves, figuring out what they want to do. Look, now see, Brooke Point's already coming up, and look how much cushion we're giving these receivers.
Z. Willis back there on to the right of Gabe Dombeck, the quarterback, and then on Dombeck's left is Daniel Coles.
Yeah, we got to.
Looks like they're just resetting here. Ball at the Eastern View 33. 1st and 10. Here's Dombeck. That's Coles in motion. Dombeck looking his way and now throws. He's got Jacob Dalton again. Catch number 6, and Dalton having a pretty good night for Brooke Point. Brett Clatterball and his teammate there, Grayson Quinn, combined for the tackle.
They all went and thought it was going to Coles. They left Dalton on one-on-one against one of our defenders, and Dalton's a possession-type receiver, pushing his body right in the right spot, be able to through that traffic and be able to make that catch.
20 yards on the play and a first down. Brooke Point has the ball at the Eastern View 13. They trail by 7, 34-27. Here with 3:19 to play. Willis, the ball carrier, makes a cut. He's at the 10, 5, down to the 3. And he's tackled by Eastern View's number 7. That is Amari Robinson.
That was an RPO, run to perfection right there, Mark. Quarterback, they're all thought the quarterback still had the ball, and Willis had it. Now, inside 5 yards.
Looks like it's right at the 3. Was that enough for a first down? If it is, it's 1st and goal from there. Okay. The ball was at the 13, picked up 10 to the 3, so it's 1st and goal from the 3. Willis again. This time runs into Keegan Brown at the 5, and then Brown gets some help from Clatterball and a couple other white jerseys there. They stop him at the 5 for a 2-yard loss. Also in the play near that tackle or in on it, Shaheem Fry, number 6. All right, so he lost a yard. It's at the 4. It's 2nd and goal from there.
Clock running.
All right, and we've got 2:15 and counting.
See if what each of you can do, dial up here on defense, get that goal line defense and stand tough.
Z. Wills, number 34, and Daniel Coles, number 3. To the right and left of the quarterback, Dombeck. High snap. Dombeck gets it down, but they're going to come to him pretty quickly and tackle him for another yard lost. Now the ball will be back at the 5-yard line. So 3rd and goal for Brooke Point. They had the ball at the 3, and in 2 plays they've moved back 2 yards.
Now see if we can do. Got 2 more downs. Because if they don't make it here, they got to go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're down to, a minute 30 and counting, and you need 7 points. You've got 2 tries at it here. 3rd and goal from the 5. Dombeck, the quarterback. Daniel Coles on his left. He's in motion now. Willis behind him. Play action. Here's Dombeck looking for Coles. Goes up for it. This one incomplete. And he drew the double coverage, and coming over, making a nice play, Braden Hubert of Eastern View. Now 4th down, Steve. Big play here. Could the ball game come down to this play?
Yep. All Eastern View's just got to keep them out of the end zone. And then they get the ball and just, I'm surprised Brooke Point had decided to call timeout here.
Well, it's going to be interesting. 4th and goal from the 5. If you're Brooke Point and you look at how they've run the RPOs tonight, they're going to call a timeout. What do you think they might draw up for this all-important 4th down play?
It's good. The 3 players are going to be involved. Coles, Dominic and
Willis,
So-
yeah, right.
But you
Isaiah.
can't forget Dalton though on the receiver.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to throw on this. They might. You got to get in. You're at the 6 yard or inside, just over the 5. Call it 5.5. And what are you going to do? I mean, they're going to try to do that RPO and maybe try to get out to a quick pass, either the Coles or Willis, on the flat. So Eastern View's defenders, especially his DBs, have got to be locked up tight on those receivers.
Steve, as obvious as it is that, Daniel Coles, quarterback, Gabe Dombeck, and then here in this third quarter, the emergence of Isaiah Z. Willis as a running back. And yet, maybe quietly having an all-star performance has been this receiver, Jacob Dalton.
Yep, you're right. I mean, but let's see if Eastern View here's it all. One other thing, you don't want to jump off sides either.
Correct. All right, this is really could be the ball game here because it's 4th and goal from the 5 for Brooke Point, which trails by 7 points late in this fourth quarter. All right, here's Dombeck. He's throwing for the end zone. Going up for it. Brett Clatterball is defending. A penalty flag came in as Clatterball was defending against the intended receiver, Daniel Jones. Or Coles, rather. Daniel Coles.
They're going to say it's interference on Brett Clatterball because he didn't turn around.
Mm-hmm. So Clatterball had the draw to guard Daniel Coles one-on-one.
Yeah, and I thought he had good defense.
I know there was contact.
But they're going to say he was fake. But see, that'd be an automatic first down. Then it'll go to overtime.
Let's check the clock. It's 53.1 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter. That play represented 4th and goal from the 5, and we had a penalty flag being assessed. A penalty now being assessed against Eastern View.
I didn't like
Pass
that call.
interference.
I thought that was a bad call. He's saying that Brett didn't turn around. In defense, Brett had to pick him up as the ball was there. But again, it looks like what Brett was guilty of, he didn't look back at the ball. He kept looking at the receiver.
And then there was contact.
And therefore, that's why they called interference.
So they're going to say it's 1st and goal now from the 2. Oh, they're going to replay 4th down. Well, that's different then.
Yeah.
It's not a first down, so it's 4th. So they're going to replay it from the 2. All right. Well, that changes things. But you've got Coles and you've got Willis back there. Dombeck, the quarterback. Let's see who they go to here.
Got to make a play.
On this play.
Timeout, probably Eastern View.
I think, it's timeout taken by Brooke Point. Let's just make sure we got this set, Steve. Correct. So it's 4th and goal from the 2.
Mm-hmm.
Not 4th and goal from the 5. But interestingly enough, that on 4th and goal from the 5, we had the pass play and then the interference call against Clatterball, but they just move it half the distance, I guess.
Yeah, they move half. If it was like at the 20-yard line, it would have been a 15-yard penalty, but in first down. But because it's inside the 5 when it happened, you go half the distance, but the down doesn't change.
But the down doesn't change, and that's really a key factor there.
Yep.
I mean, if the down had changed and you're talking about four chances to punch it in from 2 yards, that's different than.
Yeah, but you had to be more than 10 yards from the goal in order to do it. So.
Right. But now you have 4th and goal from the 2.
Now, if I were here, Eastern View, you got to sell out everything you got right here. Get penetration and make a play.
After the timeout, Brooke Point comes back on the field with his offensive unit, looking at 4th and goal from the 2. A lot of pressure now on this Eastern View defense to step up and stop them here. All right, here's Dombeck. Now we got a whistle and stoppage before this play can get going.
Who is this?
Timeout now taken by Eastern View.
Yep.
Well, maybe they wanted to look at the Brooke Point offensive alignment and then call timeout.
Someone's there yelling, it's a first down. No, it isn't a first down because it happened inside the 5. You couldn't give them 15 yards. But
Couldn't give it to them, Steve. All right. Well, this broadcast brought to you by K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies, now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. 825-8371. Well, what do you think about that, Stephen? Has this been a good game to call and watch?
It's been a real good game. It's been up and down, up and down. Haven't been much defensive played in this game. I want to see defense played right here by Eastern View. You got to get that down. You can't let him go through his progressions, and you got to watch that run-pass option. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Coles. If they keep him in, they're going to use him to run it. If they circle him out in motion, they're going to try to throw to him. You got Willis there too.
All right, after the timeout, here come the Blackhawks setting up on 4th and goal from the 2. Gabe Dombeck is the quarterback. Daniel Coles. Z. Willis behind him. Willis, the ball carrier. Looks like he's in from 2 yards out.
Yeah, he is.
And it's a 1-point game, 34-33. Well, Steve, Willis has been doing the work here in this 4th quarter.
Yeah,
did it surprise you they would go to him? I guess not.
No, it wasn't surprising, but I'm surprised he had that easy effort to get in there. But I'd be also at the official if I was Coach Lowry and said, I don't think that ball was catchable when they're saying that Brett scored, interfered with it. Now you've got a kicker here that's not very good. And if I was Eastern View, I'd be selling out as much as I can to block this thing.
Well, he's going to line up. Well, they're going to call a timeout here at Brooke Point. Why not? 34-33, our score. Eastern View up by a point, but the point after coming up will possibly tie the game if that's what Brooke Point opts to do. And this is being a non-conference, non-district game. If I was coach of Brooke Point, I'd go for 2 to win. Well,
show your kids you believe in them, and you're going to go for the win. Eastern View's got to stop them. I mean, their field goal kicker isn't that good. He barely gets it over the crossbar, and I think so. Why not go for 2? It's not a district game. It's a non-conference. I know there's points involved.
Right. Not only that, but you're Class 6 Brooke Point playing Class 4 Eastern View.
Right. So if Brooke Point wins, you'd think because of the higher classification, they don't get that many points.
Right. Exactly. Right.
But if Eastern View wins, they get a lot of points. So, I don't know. I'm not the coach, Coach Hazelwood down there, but I would be. I would opt out and try to go for 2.
Well, let's say they don't go for 2. Let's say they do the point after and they get it. What is our overtime format, if any, during the regular season?
Well, it's 10 yards. Then you still have a tie. You got to go to overtime. You got to win.
Okay. We haven't been in that situation.
And they start from the 10-yard line.
All right.
Oh, they look like they're going for 2.
Well, they're lining up to go for 2. They're going to go for the win here. And, that means Daniel Coles comes in the Wildcat. Take that likely direct snap. The officials are conferring, aren't they, about something? We're trying to get on with things. On with the show. This is it.
I think their question is I don't know what they're doing.
Okay, 34-33, our score, Eastern View up. But Brooke Point opting here to go for the 2-point conversion.
Make sure you don't let Willis slink right up in the middle. You want to make sure you contain those outside edge. Come on, refs.
Yeah, what's the holdup, right? All right, looks like we're getting closer to getting this play underway. All right.
They're going for the win.
Here they go. Daniel Coles. They snap it to Coles. Here he goes. He's looking for some room. And they're not going to get it. They're going to stop him for a loss all the way back to the 5-yard line. So the Eastern View Cyclones have come through. Now the game's not over. There's still 42.4 seconds to play, but it's 34-33 Eastern View, Steve, and the Cyclones are going to be receiving the kickoff here shortly.
Yep, they sure are. What a great play. What defense. They're sold out on that play, Mark. They didn't let Coles get that edge, And I couldn't see who made the tackle,
Couldn't either.
but whoever it was a game-saving tackle. So now,
And you know what? It wasn't a solo. There were several white jerseys in on it to stop him. And, you know, you figure you need that many if you're going to be looking at stopping Daniel Cole.
well, let's go to replay. You can see it right here. Here he's the Coles, takes the handoff. He's trying to get to the edge, and he doesn't. Tackle by committee, Eastern View. Now, if you're Eastern View now, Mark, you know they're going for the onside kick.
Right.
42 seconds. You got to have all your hands people up front and look and watch out for the dink where they kick it over our guys in the front and try to, recover it. So this is going to be interesting here.
Well, I think it was a gutsy call by Brooke Point to go for it, but it even gutsier play by Eastern View to tackle by committee, a guy who's been dangerous, particularly 3 touchdowns in this game.
Yep.
And he was looking to win it for Brooke Point. Now, of course, the game's not over. As we mentioned, we've got 42.4 seconds showing on the clock, and we've got Matthew Maws going to kick off, and we expect an onside kick. And, if Brooke Point recovers it, it's still anybody's ball game.
That's right.
Here it is. And this looks like it's going to be recovered by Eastern View. No, Brooke Point says they have it.
I know, but did it go 10 yards?
Well, they kicked it from the 40?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they get to 50.
Yeah.
And Brooke Point recovers the onside kick. Coming away with it there is number 80. Well, that's Matthew Moss, the kicker.
Yeah.
Well, what about the formation that they had?
I know,
on
it's
that
all
kick?
that huddle, and they just all bunched up together. And, I think Coach Lowry is saying, weren't they offsides? But, they got it. And, I thought we had it recovered, but as soon as the pressure hits him, and he dropped the football. He should have gone. He went. Our Eastern View player was trying to catch it falling back instead of falling forward, and
So-
he got hit. And
With the onside recovery, Brooke Point will have it at the Eastern View 47-yard line. Any score would win it for them. They got 40.7 seconds to play here in this fourth quarter.
well, they need to come up big again, play defense again, and you knew the onside kick was coming. You knew it, and we should have recovered that. But now you got to get pressure. You know they got to throw.
Well, so we think. But you got running backs like Z. Willis back there. Yeah, here's Dombeck. Protection holds. He's throwing downfield, incomplete. This one intended for A.J. Guzman. Good coverage out there, brings up 2nd and 10.
Now you got to dial up. I'd dial up a blitz, especially on 3rd down if they, send Clatterbaugh rather up. But you're going to need him. They want to. What Eastern View's coach is saying to the defense, keep everything in front of you because of the clock. Because I don't think Brooke Point has any timeout. So you got to make sure to just keep everything in front of them and make sure tackles. Don't let a Brooke Point player get behind you.
All right, Daniel Coles is going to reset here. Looks like he's going to go to the slot right side. They're going to put 3 receivers to the right. Z. Willis is behind Dombeck. Here comes the pressure. They set up the screen. Incomplete. And look there, Steve. If he had caught that pass, looks like he had a little bit of real estate in front of him.
Yeah, but it was a good play call, the screen, because we definitely weren't defending it well because he took Clatterbuck. Coles took Clatterbuck over here wide because Clatterbaugh is guarding, one-on-one with Coles. We'll see where.
Well, the incomplete pass brings up 3rd and 10. So now Brooke Point really down to 2 downs here because if they don't convert on 3rd down, they could be down to just 2 plays, and then Eastern View would likely win this ball game. All right, 3rd and 10 from the 47 of Eastern View. Here's Dombeck. He's throwing. He's got a receiver near side, and then pushed out of bounds at the 40 was the receiver Javier Hubbard. All right, so he's short about 3 yards, brings up 4th and 3.
Big 4th down play here.
Well, from the 41 actually brings up 4th and 4. Let's see, yeah, that would be right. 1, 2, yep. You got to get to the 37, it looks like, for a 1st down. But the clock's a factor, 26.6 seconds showing in this one. Here is 4th down and 4.
I'd be sitting there putting the heat on this quarterback somewhere, somehow. Don't let Coles or Willis beat you.
All right, Dombeck's back there along with Z. Willis. Well, the ball, the snap gets to beyond Don Beck. He has to pounce on it, and that's going to be the ball game because that was 4th down.
That was 4th down. It was,
and I don't see a penalty flag down. So
I
you might as well. Yeah, they're celebrating for good reason. So a botched snap, Steve, and that's really the first one we've seen committed by Brooke Point here tonight, and it comes at a very inopportune time for the Blackhawks.
Yep, and I mean, like I said, when you're in shotgun, you run that risk, and that's exactly what happened. Now all Eastern View just got to do is just kneel on it. And it's a big win for Eastern View.
Big win, 34-33, Eastern View. Back on offense with 21.8 seconds to play, and as Steve pointed out, AP Hall, all he really needs to do is take a knee here.
Yep, sure does. And, I'm looking in the Battlefield District, and you're looking, oh, wait,
And that, this is questionable where AP Hall under center goes to a knee and then gets tackled.
Yeah, Brett, get out of there, don't you get... I mean, they did. It's going to be a flag against Brooke Point.
When you get into this situation, this is where the frustration level can be so high that you have some short fuses out there.
Right. And you're going in there, and trying to disrupt the play. I know what Brooke Point is trying to do, disrupt what you can, but this is going to be a personal foul, and it should be 15 yards.
Unsportsmanlike conduct against Brooke Point, yep.
Yep. See, now all he's got to do is hold. I wouldn't even don't be in shotgun. Just line up under center and take a knee, and that's it. Because then you can run out of the clock. You don't have to snap it again.
Well, the big Markov puts the ball at the Brooke Point 34. But the big thing here is, as you say, take a knee and run that clock out.
Now, if you want to add insult to injury, throw it out there to Butler and. Really salted away, but that you don't do that. That's
probably wouldn't do that.
That's Bush League.
Wouldn't bet on that one. But what a game!
Yeah.
Likely going to end 34-33 unless you have like a Joe Pisarcik type play.
Yeah, and so they're all going to stand, looking around there, standing, and just.
They're letting the clock run out. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because of the penalty.
It's so far out of view here.
Yeah.
And then the final seconds have finally ticked off, and Eastern View emerges the winner by the hair of their chin, 34-33.
That's right. And next week we go to do Culpeper Cortland at Cortland. But I was getting ready to say, in the Battlefield District, Mark, you got King George. They're up there, number one, top. You got Cortland playing well, undefeated. Eastern View undefeated. So, and then the rest of the district, I don't really see. Caroline maybe a little bit improved. Culpeper, has issues. Spotsylvania is as good as everyone thought they were. And so and James Monroe, they've also got some issues. So I really think it's going to come down to a three-man race. And Chancellor also is not playing very well. So it's going to be King George, Eastern View, Cortland, I think is going to be all trying to get in the playoffs.
All right, well, with the exciting win, 34-33, Eastern View remains unbeaten at 3-0. Brooke Point will fall to 2-2. Outstanding game. Hope you enjoyed it. I know we certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. Couldn't have asked really for a better game to call. All right, well, that'll do it tonight for us from Brooke Point High School in Stafford. For Johnny and Steve and Nicole back in the studio, I'm Mark O'Connell saying thanks for watching and supporting Cyclones football here on the Culpeper Media Network. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you next Friday when Culpeper plays Cortland. So long.
This broadcast is brought to you by the following community supporters.
Able Heating and Air, answering any and all questions you may have about your HVAC system. There's peace of mind knowing they are able to keep your home comfortable. CFC Farm and Home Center, supplying your lawn and garden, pet, and farm needs since 1932. Hometown pricing and outstanding service at CFC Farm and Home. Found in Sons Funeral Home, Culpeper's perpetual best of the best for resources, planning, and support for our entire community. From shirts to banners and everything in between, imprint your message on the community with Cash Imprints. Battlefield Toyota, Chevrolet, and Ford, proudly serving the Culpeper community for over 20 years. State-of-the-art service departments and over 22 acres with hundreds of new and pre-owned vehicles. Battlefield Automotive. Nominations are now being accepted for the local area sports Hall of Fame. Nominate anyone that you feel is deserving of historical local sports recognition at localsportshistory.com/HOF. K&M Lawn, Garden, and Arborist Supplies. Now located directly across Highway 29 from Eastern View High School. K&M, from grass to trees, they aim to please. UVA Health Culpeper Medical Center is here to care for you and your loved ones at our high-quality primary and specialty care locations right here in our community. Visit uvahealth.com for more information.